Yeah.
It's cool to be, oh, this is gonna sound bad. You just gotta roll with it. It's
I'm with you,
it's
bro,
cool
right here.
to sound hood. So like,
Oh, okay.
some kids I feel like nowadays are like, oh, I want to go experience that shit. Or like, with MTV in the 90s, like it was all about like, you know, we're not kids, we're hoodlums. Like,
Word, yeah. No, I feel you, bro, I feel you.
Yeah.
So like, did you like consume a lot of that media when you were younger?
I feel like some of it, and even indirect way. Like, I feel like Disney kind of like brainwashes kids. Like, I felt like it brainwashed me to be more like against authority.
Really? What Disney show was making you against authority?
Oh, did you ever watch Shake It Up?
I think so.
I did watch that, but
yeah,
I feel more like Zach and Cody.
Oh, yes.
You were like, oh, yeah, like a person in a position of power. Fuck him. They were like, Mr. Mosby, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you know, not literally.
Yeah. No, dead ass, dude. It's that show was awesome because like no, it definitely took you on like in a completely different direction than you would expect. Like looking back, like watching yourself watching the show like as a kid, it's like such a simple thing, but like you're saying, like it's so subtle, like it doesn't seem like it, and then like Disney's like brainwash it, like when you said that, bro, like it kind of like TV and like electronics in general just like brainwash you like subconsciously, like that documentary we were watching, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's all like it's an ecosystem, bro.
But like we're only hearing about it now because this is the most refined it's ever been.
Yes.
It's also the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, the Terminator isn't who we should be fearing. We should be fearing like data piracy. Like I feel like that is so. That's how you get everything stolen. That's how corporations become the leaders of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like. But it's been going on forever, experimenting with different like TV styles and making like old channels used to make sure they had a diversity of like TV shows that they would run. Like this is our version of, you know, a drama, a comedy, reality show. And then like the reality show model worked because it got the highest amount of engagement and it was easy to talk about on social media. So like Twitter, Facebook, like they've even Instagram, because they have like their own pages. That's like propelled like reality TV. If you look on like cable TV nowadays, it's all reality.
Yeah.
It's and like that was just a very early form of it.
Yeah.
Like the review system.
Yeah. For kids, bro, they bottle it up in a nice little package, bro.
Yeah. And they just go, here, parents, you have an overactive kid.
Yeah.
Sit him down in front of that
and
TV.
you're not good at your job, and you would rather put them in front of the TV. So, let me give you this shit.
Yeah. We're going to brainwash your kids and you're going to do nothing about it.
And then, yeah, that's dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's super dark.
Yeah, but like, I think that's just a reality that we've only just become aware of. And like, Snowden talked about the beginning of it. How long ago?
The Patriot Act, bro, after 9/11, right?
Yeah, that shit's scary.
That's a long time ago. Like, we're officially like older now, and like it's been a long time since that happened, bro. It's like years. Crazy. Listening to him talk to Joe about it was like, I only got halfway through, but like it was dope. Like it's kind of scary. Like it kind of makes you lose like a lot of faith.
Did you hear the way he was talking too?
Yeah. Wait. Okay, wait. It was almost like okay, when you just said that, like
gun to his head behind the camera, something like that. Don't you think? Because he was saying shit that was a little sparky, but he was holding back, obviously, and you could tell how slow he was talking and measuring his tone.
It was a Zoom, so that does slow things down. But bro, I hear you, and like we should go down this conspiracy hole for like a little bit at least.
Fuck.
Just like because it's kind of sick.
Yeah.
But I didn't in my brain connect it together, but like I thought like my like more innocent interpretation of like his behavior was that like it was really inspiring that he like still like trusted the systems that like fucked him over. And like that was weird almost, like the way, like you're saying, in his intonation and like the speed of his delivery, like it was kind of weird in like the way that he said certain things. It's so hard to describe, but like,
I think I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, why are you, like, still, like, oh, like, it'll get better? Like, how do you stay positive after you, like... after
are
that
you
happens,
still so bought in?
right? Which for me that was inspiring, but like if you look at it like a little bit from a more cynical lens, like that's fucking that is dark.
Was he supposed to say that?
Like
The
way
guys, I'm allowed to say a certain amount, you know, but a CIA agent has a gun pointed at my head, so I'm allowed to trash America this much, you know. But if I go over 65%, I'm fucking dead. But I'm also smart, so I can do this, and I won't make it look like I was fooled. So it could have been like there's more to it, and he just couldn't talk about all of it. I don't know.
Wow.
My honest to God belief, I think every country in the world right now is the most advanced surveillance state we've ever seen, except for like maybe developing countries. But like, I think we're fucking lying to ourselves if we're gonna say like, oh, okay, just China, and we just know that they have this because there's so many people who are tech savvy in their culture that have leaked this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't know. Is it unreasonable to think that like, just because we know China has it, that doesn't mean that almost every other country doesn't have that kind of shit, and they just don't tell us.
And then what, dude? And then the weight of like what, going back to what you were saying earlier about like Snowden with the gun to his head, like just like trying to visualize like the weight of the American like the weight of America's entire democracy, like deciding to lean into areas like Snowden, like it's such a dark turn.
Yeah.
You know what I like? It's like
so
it's
nice
so heavy. Like when you think about that, like everything that you like want to love about the country, like it makes you question it, and that is like so heavy for me. Like I love this country, bro. Like, but that is like fuck.
But I think you can still love this country
For
and
sure.
also be skeptical about like the truth of shit.
You have to be.
Like, I don't.
You have to be.
I love America, but I also am like a borderline like Marxist, and like I don't think like.
Yeah, I know you are.
But I still love America.
Yeah.
And the only difference between me and somebody else is I just happen to have a weird take on things, but I'm just as convinced as everybody else that my way is the right way. Doesn't mean it is. It's probably not.
Yeah, that's.
But I don't think it's any one system anyways.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, you need a yin and yang. You need a balance of power. You need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like, you know, fuck a jelly sandwich, fuck a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Or, I fucked that up. Fuck a jelly, fuck a butter. You want peanut butter, right?
Yeah.
Like, and jelly all together.
Yeah.
So, I think, like, in order to have a functioning government, you need to have capitalism. And capitalist pressure, because that challenges people to do better, puts businesses against each other, better quality of product. But you also need to have a little bit more socialism, like, than we have right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, in balance with capitalism.
Yeah, right,
so it's
right.
like, oh, you know what? Those people who maybe just, you know, maybe they're naturally lazy pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had a lot of trauma when they grew up. Like,
Yeah.
all those things, I think, like, they need to have an economic bottom line, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, rugby, we're not gonna fucking let the worst person on our team be shitty forever, right? Because if we're a good enough team, we can bring everybody up, you know, and still give them opportunities like on the field and shit. But I feel like if we were a rugby team that works how like our economic system works right now, like just at the moment, not like other times in the past, then it would be like, all right, like the best probably 4 players are just gonna get the ball all the time, and if you suck, we're just gonna make sure you suck more. We're just not gonna ever give you an opportunity to get better. And like that's what socialism's all about, just giving people an opportunity to do better. I think, when taken to an extreme.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's like very like you're saying with the balance, it's such a hard line to walk, and like it's just like you said, like you say like that you're like married to your ideas or whatever, but you're not. Like you're able to like have a conversation and like actually like pick it apart with somebody, and like I think that like that's just the most important thing. Is like it's just hard to be right. There's no way to know what's the right way.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about finding like the balance of all of these different like ideas and methods, like things are just like so complicated to the point where, like, with an entire country to run, to the point where it's just, like, it's just hard to know what works. So, like...
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point.
Like, it's such a... Like, if you, like, take a step back and, like, take an obvious but, like, needed look at, like, how hard the situation is...
Yeah.
Then you start to be like, okay, like, what are we gonna, like, well, I like the idea of trying things out, though. Like, I'm big on, like, try it, see if it works. If it doesn't work,
right,
we won't do it again. Like, you know, I'm big on that. Like, let's try and see what the, like, Andrew Yang's thing with the, like, I don't know much about it. I've heard it's a terrible idea, but I've heard it's a great idea, and I also would love to try it out for 5 years and see what happens.
Yeah.
And if it blows... We'll get rid of it, and if it works, then it works, and that's that's beautiful. If we could just take shots like that. Like, imagine if our government would take shots.
But we can't.
Let's take a shot at fucking what's it called? So I can actually
Senate, Congress.
No, Andrew Yang's idea.
Oh, like UBI.
Yeah,
like,
universal basic income. Take a shot at universal basic income. Let's take a shot at, like, fucking, I don't know. Mars, like, like, let's take a shot at, like, rebuilding every single city so that, like, our poor people have actual, like, structure, and like, going into what you're saying, like, they just need help. Like, our poor people just need help, and that's, like, the saddest part about capitalism. Is that, like,
there's the winners and losers.
Yeah, well, it's okay to, like, I think you need winners and losers, but it's like the winners, like, in the capitalist system aren't rewarded for helping the losers.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we're getting good competition, we're getting competitive prices, we're getting, like, this, that, and the other, but, like, if the winners aren't helping the losers, like, there's not, like, some real social progress going on.
Right.
And people lose for 1.5 million reasons, which is why it makes it so hard to find out who needs what and how much, and, you know.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. Almost. It fucking sucks that, like, I don't know, we have to settle for one system or another because we don't have, like, viable third parties in this country.
Right.
But it's also, like, I wish more people had that mindset.
Yeah.
Because when you said, that's fucking beautiful. Like, that's how we should be approaching this.
Right.
If we're, like, a true democracy, if we're really, like, you know, all about progress and being an inventive, like, nation, then we shouldn't be stuck in tradition like this. And that doesn't mean abandon conservatism, because I think some traditional conservative values are needed before we get full societal collapse.
Yeah.
You know? Because if we were... I hate to say this, but, like, I feel like if we were fully, like, all super, super progressive, it's so easy to get into a snowball of change where we just keep going.
You start fixing shit that doesn't need to get fixed, and
that, like,
breaking shit that wasn't broken. And
yeah, I mean, also you get to the debauchery of, like, Rome. They got very, very, very progressive at the end. Well, like... I think it was, like, the east side, not, like, Justinian's side, but, like, they, like, and it just kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
Because everything was so progressive that they were like, fuck it, everything is accepted. Like, we're gonna start being more lax on laws, like, all that.
Yeah, dude, like New York City right now, bro.
I'm worried about this country.
Me too. Like, me too, and, like, I never really thought I would say that. Because I'm, like, such a, like, for me, it's like, I don't really, like, go there.
Yeah, dude, you
like,
are
I just try to be, like, I am, and, like, I really believe in, like, being an optimist. I believe that there's so many benefits, but, like, just hearing about people talk about it and, like, becoming, like, more aware.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is the Blissfully Unaware podcast with Nate Morrow and Hale Thomas, and this is our first recording, and we're 20 minutes in, and I'm just saying what's up. But we had to do this at some point, so...
Oh my god. Hey, thank God you covered that.
Yeah. Now we're set, right? Like, now it's an official podcast.
Officially.
Dude, that's sick. Oh, dude, we can stop right here and I'd be so happy. We gotta keep going, though. What the fuck was I just saying?
You were saying how, like, you're worried for the first time for America. You never
Yes, I never thought I would be, bro. Like, I never thought, like, and still most of me is like, okay, like I am still like I'm the majority optimistic, but there is like more of a tinge of like worry infringing on like my consciousness about the country.
Yeah.
This because it's just
The fucked up thing is we've been here before, but not all at once. We've had a pandemic before, we've gotten through.
Yeah.
We've had like civil or like party
unrest,
polarization, right?
Tribalism.
Yeah, straight up McCarthyism, like, but with people calling others socialists and others fascists.
Yeah,
it's like it's partisan McCarthyism. Who the fuck would have ever thought that was going to happen? Like the fact that we're involved in like a few wars right now we shouldn't be. The fact that we're about to lose being a superpower to China.
Yes.
Like the problem is that everything's coming at once, and the American spirit might not be hard enough anymore to conquer that. Because in the past, when we were faced with difficulties, we just fucking win.
Yes, and that's something I like feel like I missed out on big time.
Yeah.
Like when, like, living in Massachusetts, like it's such a liberal place that like I've never like. I would say it's like 50-50. Like 50% of the people really like love the country, and then the other, like it was a lot of like negative energy and like focus being thrown over America, like in my education.
Yeah.
Which is like super weird because like I from my parents got a lot of like positivity and like, you know, like they're just wicked smart and they're history teachers, and I don't know, like I just really respect them, and like they know like they know what's up, and they like they hold the values of the time of their time and the times that they were affected by. So like my grandparents and their parents, like you had to be like an American, like you had to be like strong, and like that was like the American way to just be better than everyone else. And now we're just like we're overcorrecting. We're like we were like hard in some areas and soft in others, and then now we're like an exact 180, and it's like sometimes it's too much.
I don't want to sound ignorant here, but I feel like I know why. We haven't had a full mobilization war or national enemy. Like full mobilization war hasn't been in 70 years, but like a common enemy we haven't had since like 40 years ago. In the 80s with like the Russian scare, the issues with like Cuba were still kind of trickling over from like the late 60s, early 70s. Like there was that feeling that we have an enemy, so we must be the Americans against the Russians.
Yeah, it's a team effort now.
But it I feel like the nature of humans sucks because we're just like, we need a fucking villain. We need somebody who we can tribalize against. So since we've been in peace too long, we're tribalizing against each other and we're finding enemies within ourselves. And it's really fucking hard to be American, which is why you're seeing people go, I'm not American, I'm a Democrat. Or I'm a Republican.
Which is crazy.
But it's nationalism for a political party.
Yeah.
And that we're seeing the damage that nationalism does live. Like, I mean, the amount of cops that have been killed by like protesters, and like the amount of like problems that have happened with cops killing protesters, or you know, the like police shootings that were happening, like, and are still happening, but like just on all sides we're eating each other because that's the only enemy we can see.
Because there's no other enemy, and I knew you were gonna go, or I was hoping you would go where you went with the tribalism thing, because like when you were talking at the start of it, I like the idea came into my mind, and then you like completely like finished my thought process out loud, which was sick. But like the whole thing is like you're saying, like it's such a sad reality of like our DNA that like it's not sad. It's not sad because it's like what got us here. But at the same time, it's like it's becoming detrimental. Like and this goes for like mental health too. Like it feels like I'm careful to make too many like proclaim something like too out there, because like I feel as if my parents and their parents all said the same thing. So I like, at the risk of being naive, I tried to like filter that out,
Yeah,
but
history.
But it does really feel heavier now. Like, and I think it's like, the tribalism just makes it so much worse. Like, we came so far, but we're still so rooted in like competition and beating other people that like.
Bro, I have a theory that like.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
We're not, like, we weren't ready. I think I'm low key worried we took ourselves out of natural selection and therefore evolution too quick. Like, I mean.
Ooh.
There's
that is heavy right there. I'm ready for this. Hold on, let me get you.
Oh fuck yeah! Hook me up with some of that. Cool. What do we got there for the listeners?
We got so shout out. We're gonna start doing fucking plugs here. We're not. This isn't a sponsor, by the way. I never thought I'd say that. This is some Mayflower Brewing beer called New World American IPA, and it's recommended. It's certainly recommended.
Absolutely beautiful.
By our own sponsored asses.
American IPA.
Yeah, there we go. It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
I trust this recommendation.
Sometime when you're over next, we'll have a treehouse beer, and then it'll just be, everything will be right with the world, man.
Goddamn.
Those things are different.
Really?
Oh.
Cheers to the first episode.
Yeah, this is sick.
Ooh. Yo, that's good as fuck.
Yeah.
That was a really good call.
Yeah.
Oh
This will get us exactly where we need to go, too.
You didn't get this at the treehouse place?
No, so this is, dude, everyone's making this now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our tribalism at work right there. Right now, we live in the time when beer has been around for how fucking long? And it is taken like 1,000-year jump in how much better it is. Like,
that's true.
Think about the timeline of beer.
Right.
And how long it was the same.
Oh my god.
And now think about how different it is now. In the very short time we've been alive.
Right.
Beer, like, this is the exact opposite of what's so sad about what we were talking about before. Yeah. Is like, we get to see this growth. It's growth in everything.
That's true.
It's not just beer.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking wheel was technology for like years.
Yeah.
And then the technology that we've seen in our lifetime has to be like exponentially like an insane number higher than anyone else has ever seen in their lifetime.
Dude, and a degree of specialization that we never would have discovered if we hadn't gone this far. Like,
yeah.
Isn't that weird? Why the fuck are we the civilization that went? How come the British Empire was able to just go? There have been so many civilizations that have been around for fucking ever. And they were like, we're just not gonna run with this. Like, I don't know if it was that.
Facts.
Like,
and then they vanished, bro. All those civilizations are just like wiped off the map, and like no one really knows why.
Mesopotamia.
Yeah,
weird.
all that shit is so weird. Like, what happened? Like, really, what happened? Like, they just decided like that was it, and like, how close are we to do it?
Yeah. Okay. This has been on my mind a bit recently. Like, I watched this fucking documentary. I was high out of my mind. I was watching a documentary on the fall of Egypt.
Oh, okay.
And I don't fucking remember what it was called, but it was like, it was talking about how like they were this indomitable civilization that had a fucking desert as a barrier. They were the only fertile land there, and there was like a surprisingly high degree of like homogeneity within that like culture, because they were all extremely religious.
Yes.
And the daily acts of contributing to Egyptian culture, contributing to the economy, going to your church to pray and building a community, all of that kind of shit. And not that I'm saying that's the only way to do that.
Yeah.
They had a ridiculous amount of like interwovenness because they were all so bought into this one cultural like I don't know, not the one or like
religion, yeah. And
and I don't know. I don't think that's a argument for a like monotheistic or like single religion society.
Yeah, theocratic government.
Yeah. But the Egyptians made it work for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like thousands of years for one civilization. it was around so fucking long that there's the old empire, the middle empire, and the new empire.
That's amazing.
Like,
yeah.
historically, like, that's fucked.
Yeah.
It was around way too long.
Yeah.
And, like, it kind of almost makes me go, well, why are we different? When they were around for that long and didn't progress, that makes me think maybe it was a fucking fluke that we got where we did. Maybe there's a million other alien civilizations out there, and it's not that they aren't intelligent. They just didn't luck out. We lucked out, and we are creating all of this, like, you know, crazy technology, like lights, cars, planes, spaceships. And because humans naturally, like, yeah, we're egotistical creatures, but we also have immense hubris and just, like, immense shame in being where we are. So it's almost like it's not a valuable human trait to go, oh, of course we're the only ones. Of course we're the only ones that have space age technology. You know, if it truly is an infinite universe, or maybe if it's relatively finite, meaning just practically we can't get anywhere else, then I think in the practically finite situation, there probably isn't other aliens. But in the infinite situation, there has to.
There 100% is, yeah.
But
wow, that's
I don't
really
know.
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you made me think of something when you were talking about, like, the interwoven, like, society, and just, like, if you think about how opposite that is of how we are right now. Like, no one cares about anybody else but themselves.
I know.
It's always, like, the next car you buy, the next fucking, like, this and that, and it's, like, religion's a weird thing, right? Because, like, nowadays, especially growing up in, like, where we grew up, not being in the South, like, a lot of people just don't even, like, count religion in as, like, an option, or, like, they're not raised with it, and, like, some people make fun of it around here. Like, some people are, like, atheists to the point where they're discriminating against other religions, and, like, it's, like, it's just interesting that, like, that sense of community, you don't find that in New England.
Yeah.
Like, New England is just, like, a bunch of assholes. Like, I've been, like, really lucky, and I've been able to, like, just, like, to clarify, I don't see people like that as assholes, but, like, that's their shell. Like, that's what they, illuminate. I know there's more to them than that, and, like, New Englanders are cool people, but, like, they don't, like, give off, like, a friendly, like, would take the shirt off their back for you vibe that other places in the country that I've been, like, lucky enough to visit with my family, like, someone will, like, you'll walk outside your door and someone will hold the door for you and you're, like, 45 steps away.
Right.
And they're like, howdy, like, how you doing? Like, you know, and they're like asking you about your day, and they're, like, looking you in the eye, and, like, probably shit they learned in church, bro. Like, like, treat your neighbors good and that fucking bullshit. Like, all that shit, dude, like,
I do think
there's something to it.
I will say,
I don't want everyone to do it. I just want everyone to respect it and understand, like, the good that comes from it. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna fuck with this. Ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
I think, like, I don't trust people like that. People who are openly way too nice, like Southern big, like, Baptists, then they're just like, oh, hey, how are, like, you know, so over the top, where it's like, oh, fuck. Like,
no, but you
can
use
serial killer,
right,
like,
or a rapist or whatever.
Which obviously is not their intention. But
well, listen, I think it depends on the person. Yeah, like, if you were to go see, like, Joe Schmo at the store, you can get a read off them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in...
I struggle with those kinds of people. Outright aggression.
Okay.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
People who are mean at first, I go, oh, you're in my clan. Like, because, like, I know I shell myself. If I'm in, like, a slightly uncomfortable situation or just around people I don't know, then I just shell myself. And, like, sometimes it's not even rational. Sometimes it's a perfectly comfortable situation. I shell myself. But I can relate to that so fucking hard. I love when people are like that. Like, because it's just, you know?
That's really interesting.
But it's almost, it's another form of tribalism. Because...
And it feeds off itself, right?
Right. Like, I know it's easy for me to talk to those kinds of people. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're just as defensive as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So we speak the same language. Like, I mean, which isn't good, because then it's exactly what you're saying.
Well, yeah, and it just it feeds itself, so it like it seeks company and it like infects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you see somebody who is capable of acting that way, and you like, do you think it comes down to an insecurity thing? Like, do you think when you look at yourself, like, you would rather show a different version than the one that you really are?
Oh, no, I don't think it's like that. I think it's more like I am intimidated by just how, like, open they are. I'm like, wow, fuck. Like, I definitely more self-conscious in the way that I come across.
Mm-hmm, than they are.
Yeah, but not self-conscious in a good way. Like, me being more self-conscious about it doesn't produce a better outcome. And I'm hyper-aware of that. You know? But this is something I've just had to deal with, like, forever.
Yeah.
Like, I have, like, straight up, like, anxiety disorder, and I used to do, like, the neurofeedback stuff for it, which helped a lot. But
what can you explain that? I don't know.
So
what that is.
it's like electrodes.
Oh, okay.
And they go onto your head and they map your brain. So let's say in your frontal lobes, a normal like pattern for like your alpha waves is like a really like divergent sine wave. But then maybe a normal pattern for your beta waves is like a quick little like floaty like cosine wave or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like that kind of stuff. Like, the amplitudes of it correspond to certain values that the psychiatrist or psychologist will use.
They understand like how to interpret them.
Yeah, it's like a special kind of training you have to go through for it, I guess. But yeah, like she took a reading of my brain and she was like, "Oh, you're like super depressed." I was like, "No, I'm not." And she was like, "Well, your brain thinks it is." I was like, "Oh." So like I started doing that, and it made it so much better.
How does it help?
So you literally just watch a movie. Or whatever. Like, I would sometimes just, like, I don't know, play a YouTube video or something. Mm-hmm. But then the screen gets darker if your brain isn't producing the right waves, right? In the right, like, frequency and shit.
This is fascinating. I've never heard of this.
It's nuts. The woman who, like, did it acted like this wasn't the future when she was putting it on.
Really?
So, I was
When did you do this, Nate?
Sophomore year.
Of college?
Yeah, last year. I don't know if you ever saw like the navy blue bag under my bed, but it was this big fucking desktop. I had to put it on my desk, but then you train certain areas of the brain like whenever. So she was training regions like it was like 9 and 13 or something, which is like I believe like right behind the frontal lobe at the beginning of the occipital. So it's like right here, I think, unless that's your parietal. Either way, you know what I mean, like middle of your head. So you plump those bitches on, sprout the hair apart, and use like this conductive like gel.
Yeah.
Throw it on, and then you're watching it, and it's monitoring what the amplitude of those brain waves are, and the screen's darker if your brain isn't matching up, and you don't even have to do anything. All you have to do is look at the screen, and your brain auto tries to make it.
You don't think about it at all.
You don't think about it at all. There is nothing you do consciously. So it's like lifting. You do it over the course of 20 weeks, and I was doing 2 sessions a week. So
that's it.
Yep, 2 sessions a week, 20 weeks. And
how
the
long
20
are the
weeks was
sessions?
optional. It was like 45 minutes.
Okay.
But you're staring at the screen, and as you start to create the right brain waves, the screen gets lighter.
Oh.
Then once
and you get what do you get, a little dopamine hit?
Low key, but what it's doing is treating the brain and the nervous system like a muscle. So if I train my bicep to contract in a certain way by doing like just a straight up concentration curl all the time, it's gonna tend to want to do that a lot. But like some ways that like people train with, like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, some ways that people train, they try to make it a whip. Like tennis players do that. When they do, that's what like isometric movements are for. Building up, like just different ways of building up. So since you're doing it regularly, then it's learning. Oh, I get the most clarity and I get the most dopamine hits
Wow.
because once you stay on the right frequency, it goes up in difficulty.
Wow.
So you get the sense of accomplishment where you're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting better. So it's just like, dude, whoever came up with this is fucking crazy, but like,
It's so
yeah.
simple too. Like
Right,
just there's
right.
such a beauty to me in the simplicity of like the most seemingly complicated things.
right, yeah.
Right? Like there's something like I think simplicity is like one of the things I believe in. Like in my life.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like
by
if I were to just use like the word simplicity as like a pillar, just like everything is so much simpler than it seems. Like you put some shit on your brain with a computer and some software that's wicked complicated and
Right.
and masterful probably and fucking ahead of its time, and you look at a screen, and when your brain is doing the shit it's supposed to do, you get to experience the best parts of the screen. And when it's not, like, dude, all
Yeah.
it is just you being happy or sad, like, or like not happy or sad, but just like
Right.
you, like, in your eyes interpretation to the point where you don't even have to think about it.
yeah.
That's so simple.
The human body is so fucking crazy. Like what it can do. Like,
It's amazing.
I get what you're saying. Like, I think that's a really. That's all in the way you look at it, though, right? Because like, if you look at it at a really
always the way you look at it.
microscopic level, oh, I really like that.
It's always the way you look at it, bro.
Wow. Was that off the dome?
Yeah, I just said that.
Wow.
But yeah, it always
Fuck.
is. It always is, right?
I guess you're right. I mean, that's like the whole everything is a mindset argument, which, like, I mean, you know, some people go, I'm gonna beat cancer, and doctors are like,
Dead ass.
no, you're not.
That's the most
And they
amazing
go,
thing ever.
and just expel it.
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
nuts.
No, I've seen it in documentaries and I don't even want to believe it. But I do.
Yeah, I will say this: almost every person that has like that kind of indomitable mindset, like my grandfather, he just had like stage 3 prostate cancer, and he was like, "Fuck you, I'm not getting my prostate removed. I want to be able to jizz."
No, your grandfather.
My grandfather. So
No
he
way! That is amazing!
He just gets the radiation treatment, and he goes, "It won't fuck up my sperm production." I was like, okay, Herb. So he sent me a video the other day. He's like walking over to this bell in like the Tampa Bay hospital or whatever.
Yeah.
And the doctors are like, "All right, Herb, go ahead and ring it." He's like, "I can ring it now." And he just slams that thing, and they're clapping, and he goes, "Hey, yeah." It's such a goof.
He's like not shook, bro.
He didn't give a fuck.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he has a mindset.
Yes,
He's always like,
yes.
nothing's gonna fuck with me.
Yes.
I'm gonna do everything for my wife, but she's not gonna get to my head. Like,
Yep.
fuck it. I'm just here. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I admire
Yes.
that.
Listen,
Yeah.
what is it, Nate?
What?
You know what it is?
What?
It's blissful ignorance.
Way to tie it all
And
together.
we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
After a word from our sponsors, we just like to appreciate the Springfield College Pod. They really pulled together. Loaded us up with sushi.
All right, and back to the show.
Oh my god.
No, but dude, that's like oh man. Wait, what were we just saying?
We were just talking about how my grandma's like.
Yes,
indomitable
that's the
mindset.
thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. First of all, it's back to what we were talking about earlier with just older people are just fucking fearless, bro, and
Yeah.
they were just taught to, and like there's negatives that come with that, like they don't like feel their emotions the right way and process things, and that like fucks them up, and we're seeing the effects of that now.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like the effects of living emotionally stunted because of the list of things we've already talked about tonight that
Yeah.
just were bad before this.
Right.
And then, like, the fact that they were so strong got them to survive it, and now that they're at the tail end of it, they're
Right.
deteriorating because of the same thing that got them through it in the first
Exactly.
place.
They're stuck in a war
Don't you think
mindset.
so? Don't you think?
That's an amazing point. Amazing.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like,
Don't you think all of the people that are old and can't figure themselves out right now, like, don't you think that that's why? Because they've already used up everything, like all of their
Right.
capacity to like survive, that now they're just not taking care of themselves and their brain is just like, it's not, it can't do it anymore. Like it's chemically tired.
I don't know if that happens.
I don't know if that happens either. I just made it up.
You might be big right about that.
I
I'm not
just made it
sure.
up.
I was gonna say like I thought you meant because they survived because they had that like war mentality
Yes.
where they were like, fuck it, I'm hard, I'm not gonna feel my emotions, all that. Now that
Pick
we're
yourself
in,
up by your bootstraps.
right, now that we're in more of like we're in a peace, this is our Pax Romana,
Mm-hmm.
like we need to be more empathetic. Those kind of people are fucked up because they never developed those skills. And like this is where some of the ancient world had it right. Maybe we need to be Spartans, maybe we need to be samurai, understanding both aspects of ourselves. Like,
Yes.
the yin and yang is such a fucking powerful symbol because it applies to absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, that's like our favorite shit. Like it makes sense. It makes all of our points like tie together beautifully. It's like it's like our cheat code, bro. Right?
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like gamifying life. Like,
That's like low key what it is. Like it just we're all like just trying to beat the game, man.
that was the highest shit.
You know what I mean? No.
I do know what you
Yeah,
mean.
it was pretty a high remark for certain.
I mean, I think like
Yeah, that was a little alright. That was I'm thinking about now saying that out loud. That was pretty stupid. But like
no, it wasn't stupid. It was just high.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was funny. Like I just mean like I
Mhm.
think the yin and yang is present in everything.
Yeah.
That in some form or another.
Yes.
Like what you're saying about it, like being a cheat code, 100%.
Yeah.
Because if you've had a civilization like Egypt or China or like early like the Indus Valley, like
Mhm.
all of those places, they have some kind of like overall theme of balance.
Yeah.
Even Christianity, there's supposed to be balance between like the Holy Spirit,
The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Mhm.
like there's supposed to be balance between those, and they're
Yeah.
all supposed to embody a different part of the faith. And almost just by having different religions, it creates that.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
Like, there's a reason. It's the rule of two. Like, there's
Mhm.
a reason everything happens on
Yeah.
not on a binary, but on a two-sided spectrum. Because, 2 is the fucking golden rule for our planet.
Mhm.
Like, chromosomes, they are one in pairs. Like, in order to reproduce, you need to have 2 different things, like, combined. Like, in order to like have a functioning economy, you need to have 2 separate sides. Everything goes into 2s for some reason.
Mm.
Like, you want to talk about a holy number, like
Yeah.
2 fucking feels like it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like even our basic anatomy, everything is in fucking 2s.
Yes. It's interesting. It's interesting, like, well, first of all, what a simple thing to break everything down into, bro. Like,
Talk
it's
about
simple.
reductionist,
Like,
yeah.
everything is so simple. And, like, it's crazy, all these rules that, like, like, people in our history, like, you learn about different people coming with different theories. And, like, I was, like, listening to some, like, business video the other day, and it was talking about, like, the 80-20 rule. And how, like,
What's the
if you're, so for example, like, if you're a company selling t-shirts, 80% of your profit will come from 20% of your customers.
Oh, that's like whale theory, right?
I don't know.
Like, mobile games, they're like, our game isn't profitable and our microtransactions are overpriced. Or even like computer games or like
Yeah.
Warzone.
Yes.
Warzone fucking does that. Like,
What, you mean there's a very small percent of people that buy it? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Less than 20%.
Yeah.
But they're whales. They'll throw so much at the game.
Oh,
And that's how
interesting.
they survive.
Yeah, so that's what the rule is, and it applies to, like, pretty much everything. Like, and it's just weird how you have, like, 80% of the beer you drink comes from. Wait. Alright, that one might not work.
Wait. What were we going to say?
I don't know why I just lost it there.
Alright, whatever.
Oh,
but-
maybe 80. Anyways, that's a bad example. But, fucking, like,
But
going
it
on, like, the
applies.
business thing, like, that's what the video was about. It was just, like,
Yeah.
explaining how, like, it applies to everything. Like,
Right.
80% of the TVs purchased in America are purchased from 20% of the companies that sell them.
Oh.
There's one. Right?
Yeah.
So it's everywhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's like in the things like that, like you're saying, like the rule of twos, the 80-20 rule, like there's all these different like rules and sequences and like realities that are just like, it's weird that everything is so structured.
Right. It almost makes you feel like a simulation. The
It
simulation
does.
can't be too chaotic because then the people within it can't understand it and can't progress.
It makes you think it's a simulation because if you look at the nature of us, like we're not, like nature as humans, we're not like organized and like put together. Like we're like, we're like rough around the edges, bro, and like, you know what I mean? Like we started as like not
I know.
even and like two pairs. Like we're not even like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
But yet it like makes up a lot of the like evenness.
What do you
like,
mean we didn't start like that?
Like we were very like tribal and like stupid and like we weren't like.
Right.
Well, we were simple though.
But even then, like I feel like there's like a feeling. Think about like playing like sports in high school, especially.
Yeah.
You had that one kid that was like that's my fucking nemesis. Like we had this town, Niskayuna. They were fucking amazing in lacrosse.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Like they went to the States every year.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were a fake lacrosse town, Burnt Hills, New York, like bullshit town.
Yeah.
Like we had like a few good kids, and our coach would just go, "Fuck it," they're playing the whole time, right?
Fuck.
Yeah. So, like, I had this one dude who went to Niskayuna. I don't even remember his name, but, and this is no offense, this is the most Hispanic name ever.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but like, you know, at
Just
the
some
time,
kid, yeah. That
we
just
were all
yeah.
Yeah, like we were all, you know, young.
Yeah.
And not aware of like political correctness
Yeah.
or not being racist. So, you know, he had some nicknames and we would just refer to him as that. I'm not gonna repeat those nicknames because I think that's bad, but like I don't even remember his name. It was that bad. So we played in the summer league, Albany Power. It was like a regional league.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So at every single tryout, he would get a face-off spot over me. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
At every single tryout, he would score more than me. I was like, fuck. But then we'd face him in the normal season, and, you know, I'd get breakaways on this kid. Like, I'd light him up on defense. Like, I would score off of him if I was dodging from high. Like, it was like a nemesis thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people have that kind of relationship with at least one other person. Like, in sports, I think that can be a thing in, like, the career world, like, in your job. Like, if you're working at, like, a corporate, like, business, like, it can be real easy to go, fuck, that's Todd. He's gonna beat me out of a fucking, you know, promotion. Like, fuck that guy.
Whoa.
Yeah, you know, like it's very natural for us to go off rules of two. So I think tribes probably had it. One other tribe that, fuck that guy, right? Like,
you just like connected some dots for me, bro. Like this is why you're gonna be a great therapist, bro.
I appreciate that.
Listen to this, okay?
I'm so hyped for it.
Okay, so earlier I was pissed because we lost.
Yeah.
And I was taking a shower, and I just felt like I played like shit, and I was like mad, and then I'm thinking to myself, this is like, by the way, if anyone is listening, we're talking about intramural volleyball, so you know this is like
high stakes.
This is like the, you know, we're pretty lucky to be talking about intramural volleyball here, but. In a therapeutic moment, but I just want to. I feel like, you know,
it was still a struggle.
It's worth saying. So I'm pissed, right? And I'm like, why am I mad? Because like for me, like I really don't get angry that much. Like it takes a lot for me to get angry.
Even with rugby, you don't get that upset.
No,
you're normally the most
it's
even
weird.
person.
I don't do the anger thing. I think it's because my dad does the anger thing, and I hate it.
Right.
I think that's why. But check this out. You, I just made that connection with my dad just now. Like, that's the first time I've ever thought of that.
You're exploring your Freudian pathways. Uncover that hidden trauma. Like,
Okay, so Nate's my therapist, and he's my fucking podcast buddy. So check this out. So I was mad. Why am I mad? And all of a sudden, I'm thinking about what you're saying about lacrosse, and like maybe I just need something to be competitive with right now. Like I couldn't figure out why I was mad, and then you were talking about that thing where you have this one nemesis.
Oh.
And like right now,
you don't have a
because
nemesis.
I'm so lucky to say, I don't have a nemesis. Like I don't. Maybe I'm like maybe that's like not me, because I can feel myself like dismissing that thought, wishing I wasn't angry, but something much more primal than my conscience is saying, why don't you have an enemy right now?
Right.
And then when I do have a fucking intramural volleyball game, I'm in the shower and I'm pissed afterwards because we just got fucking wrecked, and it should be fun, and we did it to have fun, and that's not how I want to be.
Okay, two things. One, I think we're all intense people.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we get into shit, like, think about rugby, we take it way too serious. It's club rugby, right?
Yeah.
It's just go out and have fun, but we get mad serious about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, even weed, we're so serious about that. Like, you know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah. Even alcohol.
Yeah,
like,
we're intense, right? We're
like,
intense by nature,
I
yeah.
love intense people. Like,
Yeah.
It's amazing because those are people who have a lot of passion about shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, sometimes there's going to be negatives. Fuck you. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
It's more so just like, oh, okay, we're all going to really get into things, and it's going to be fun because everybody's passionate, which is an inspiring atmosphere to be around. Like, I think point two is that our monkey brain, like our ego,
yes,
your,
it's
like,
our ego. That's
exactly.
what it is.
Your soul is trying to fight your ego.
That's what it is.
And that's, you can feel your soul going, hey, ego, fuck you, we're not going to do that. But your ego's like, no, you need a nemesis.
Yes.
Like, eat him and fucking kill his wife. Like,
Because if you didn't, and we were living millions of years ago, then you wouldn't have lived, and you wouldn't have created your family line.
yeah.
Because if you didn't have a nemesis and challenge yourself to be
How
the
you
most,
be the alpha male.
yeah,
How
and
you
then
ever
what?
produce.
And then nothing progresses, right? But
Right.
now we're at this point where it's like everything is all straightened out. Like we are, like compared to then, like we're pretty good, and now we've come to this point where it's like, okay, hold on, I'm somewhere here. I'm somewhere here. We're at this point where our old physical tendencies are stopping our mental growth.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's not our physical tendencies, it's just our old tendencies
It's the
are stopping our
traditional
new
tendencies.
growth because of the way that we're like so like it's so hardwired in us to be the way that we used to be.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
I get exactly what you
Oh,
mean.
I hope
That's
the
the
listeners
desire.
understand.
That's the desire to evolve.
Yes.
And we have, this is going to sound wild, we have evolutionary socialism right now. Everyone's allowed to reproduce.
Yes.
Evolution isn't happening anymore.
It's not.
Because there's no winners and losers.
Yeah.
In the old, like,
We're
I don't
going to
think in old
devolve
days-
now. It's going to be
I don't think it's going to be that, but I do think what happened was we had this tree, right? This proverbial, if you look at our evolutionary path, I think it starts at the base, right? But then it moves up, and we had this tree where it was constant progress because it was just the stud reproducing all the time. So whoever was the most evolutionary fit, whoever could shove up the most food,
Fucking
Gordon Ramsay,
Genghis Khan, bro.
Yes, exactly. People who are conquerors, like
That
hard
just
people.
had the most children and like
They fucked.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that was right, because a lot of areas of that obviously are fucked up.
Yeah.
But maybe we took ourselves out of that savage state a little bit too early, because like you're saying,
back to what you're saying earlier.
our bodies aren't ready for it. Like
Yeah.
we are still chemically made to, like, you know, find peace gathering shit or like killing other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, yeah, there is a movement now where it's like, you know, get rid of that ego, embrace your soul. That's what's infinite about you. That's what's civilized.
Right.
Like, that is what makes you human. And, you know, a lot of people shy away from that. Because like, oh, you know, spirituality's whack, or like, what the fuck, I'm gonna be a Buddhist? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think there's multiple ways to go about it.
Yeah.
And some people have already reached it without realizing it. And just because like Buddhism is a clear-cut path, just because of that does not mean that you should latch onto it, because it just fucking won't. Everyone will vibe with it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
that's real, bro, for sure.
Yeah, I think like, I think in order to like get your soul out, we need to change something in the way we're going about our society right now. Yeah. I'm not gonna offer a solution because I don't think I have that answer.
Yeah.
But I think like since we've been on this evolutionary trunk, all of a sudden everybody got to reproduce. Someday the trunk splits, we're in a ton of branches. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to a level of homogeneity because of like our global culture we have right now, where you're just interbreeding everywhere. Like, you know, we might get to a point where we're so fucking variant that we're homogenous. You know what I mean? Every human is equally different from one another.
Yeah, which, and then there's no more discrimination, right?
I think discrimination will still happen.
Yeah, from other... Yeah, it won't be any more like physical discrimination against like race and color. If we're all the same color...
Dog, I will argue that... No, I think we're not going to be the same color. I think we're going to be so varied that like there's going to be just so many different shades of everything. I don't think we're all going to be the same color. I don't think we're all going to be the same height. I think we're all going to be so genetically dissimilar. But I was going to say that I don't even think that this kind of prejudice comes from, you know, race. I don't think it's white or black. I think it's the fact that over the course of time, white has become synonymous with rich and black has become synonymous with poor. And I that's not like a belief that I endorse. I just think naturally that is what's happened in America, at least, because there's just such a disproportionate wealth divide between those two races. Like, and because of that, people use those terms almost interchangeably when they're talking about stuff. And that hurts different efforts to try and educate people. You talk about like privilege, and they're like, you don't know my story, like, I grew up poor. It's like, no, that's not what we're talking about. You have a legitimate privilege because of the color of your skin that you don't realize. Of course you grew up poor, but it's that implicit bias that's correcting poor to black and rich to white, and vice versa. Maybe that's a controversial thought, but I feel like I see that.
It's like, definitely a controversial thought, but I definitely couldn't 100% see where you're coming from on that. I think it's, what's interesting is like, I think it's more than just money. I think it's just being different. I think it's insecurities. That's what I think it is. Yeah. I think you and I, whatever, like, when you're different from somebody and you're not comfortable with who you are, then it just creates like room for hate. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I think it's interesting there because there's two paths to go down. The egotistical path is, I put this on them. Fuck them for being different from me. The soulful path in its early beginnings is, I'm putting this on myself.
Right.
I have something wrong with me. The soulful path in the late stage is more like, I'm accepting the fact that this person is different from me, and that's chill.
That's sad, though.
It is sad. It sucks that, like, unless you really take the time to work on yourself, like, it's so hard to be a tolerant person. And even then, like, I feel like I've done a ton of work on, like, you know, just working out my emotional state the same way I would, like, work out my body. Like, and even then, I know I have so fucking far to go.
Right.
And I'm never going to get there because I can't live for infinity.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's beauty in the struggle, though, right? Like, that's the whole point. Like, you don't need to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You just gotta, like, any progress you see, bro, is, like, you know, like, that just, you have to use that to push you forward through, like, your own development, because, like, there's nowhere to get to.
Right.
Like, there's a really controversial, like, mindset with people who have a lot of money that, like, sometimes things are never enough for them, and, like, they're sometimes never happy. But I think, like, that it's not that they're not happy and that they're unsatisfied. I think it's that they're loving the journey of struggling. And, like, think about it now, like think about who the savages would have been in the past and who the savages are now. In the past, they're like tribal warriors, like men that protect the clan, like Vikings and fucking, I don't know, anything that's like dominant and Spartans and shit like that. Yeah. And now it's like businessmen, right? And part of that is the economy and the effect that money has had on like the human brain and like the way that we've like kind of just like huddled around money and just like totally like disproportionately accepted it as like
idolized it.
Yeah, right. But like think about that now. Like the people who were dominating before were ripped and like warriors, and the people that are dominating now are just. It's the same thing, and it's a different way to dominate. Yes. Right?
Yeah, dude, that's profound as fuck. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, that's
like Donald. Bonkers. Like, think about this, okay? Yeah. Donald Trump is like a Spartan. I know that's disrespectful. I know that sucks to say.
I'm only saying that because.
And I'm not talking about his. Yeah. Well, that's part of the point I'm making. That's part of the point I'm making. It's not as important anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you can win with your brain.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why we're here in the first place, because we could win with our brain. But there was still so much tribalism in the past. Right? That you had to win with your brain and your body, but now you only have to win with your brain.
Right.
Dude. And I'm not saying, like, Trump is a good person. What I'm saying is Trump is the kind of person that somebody says you can't do it, and then he does it.
Right.
He fucking became president because he was a successful businessman. Like, people don't understand, like, as a business person, there's a different kind of respect you have to have for Trump. Not because he's a good person, not because any other reason other than from a very simple and pure level. It's not really just Trump. It's anyone who's, like, gained this level of respect is that, like, they just don't stop. Right. Like, some fucking asshole probably said, fuck you, you think you're so good? I bet you couldn't become the president of the United States. I'm pretty sure Obama said that.
He did say that.
Okay, what did Trump do?
Trump goes, fuck you.
And then he became the president. And that's not cool. Right. I'm not happy that happened.
Yeah, I was going to say
I'm not, but like, it's not cool. It sucks. But it's simple. That's the way we are.
Yeah,
He's
it's
winning.
Intensely human.
It's intensely and deeply, profoundly human.
Fuck. I think that's why a lot of people naturally gravitate toward him.
Yes.
Gotta be, right?
And he's real, and people aren't real right now.
Yeah.
And the old people who knew how it was because their parents said back in my day, and their parents' said back in my day, and that's what they heard their whole childhood, they're hard, and they like the truth. Right. We don't like the truth. We don't listen to that shit.
I think it's tough, right? I mean, because I don't feel like Trump speaks the
No, I'm not talking about Trump anymore. Oh. I'm talking about like politics in general and just people's interactions.
Right.
Like the other night, you made an off comment. We were off campus, and I was like, "Dude, like, is that you or is that him?" Like, that's coming from. You remember what I'm talking about? We were like walking past the isolation housing one night, and you were like, you said what up to Nick, but like, you had a comment, right? And then I was like, okay, like, but is that you or is that him, right? And then you're introspective and being like, okay, no, that was me. Like, that's not him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you know how that connects?
I do. Yeah. That's, dude. This is what I love about, like, I love this about being around you because like I feel like my natural tendency. I know that, like, I'm just an aggressive person. If I had no influence or introspection, I would just be an aggressive person. Yeah. And my only outlet would either be, like, lifting or, like, boxing and getting drunk in my hometown bar. Yeah. And, like, I'm extremely grateful for, like, a lot of the friends that I've made because I feel, and, like, my sister, like, everything like that. I feel like it's helped me, like, work that out and realize that it's just like, oh, okay, I have an animal inside me. I just don't want to fucking let it out.
Yeah.
Like, what I love about being around, like, you and, like, Adam and all them, like, it's, I can let parts of that come out, but you guys check me when I do it. And you do encourage, like, the soulful behavior rather than the egotistical behavior. Which I think that's really fucking, like, that's powerful. Like, that's what makes people, like, better people.
And that's how people learn, right?
Yeah.
Like, when they find the edge between... Right, that's how true teaching is done. When you show somebody the edge between, like, what they're learning from other people and what they're learning from themselves. Like, you're on the edge of, like, okay, I can be myself, but when things that I think or do or say are just a little bit over the line,
right.
that's where you learn. When somebody, and going back to what I said, when somebody's honest with you, and that's why I was talking about it earlier, I fucking forgot. I was trying to bring it home there. Like, when no, you didn't interrupt, bro. I'm just high. But, like, when people, like, when somebody says, like, oh, dude, that's not him, that's you. And you're, and then you have the ability to respond and be like, you're right. Like, that's something that I really appreciate about you. Because I think the reason that you and I can have conversations where we don't just bullshit each other the whole time is because, like, you can just say, like, hey, man, like, what? And you're like, and no, but you have the strength as a person to look at yourself and say, that was not the best version of me. A lot of people would rather just be like, oh, fuck you, man, I'll do whatever I want. I'll say what I want. I'll treat people how I want because it's easier. But I think that that's something that's my parents are both teachers, and, like, teaching is simple too. You just have to push somebody to the edge of between doing the right thing and the wrong thing, and then they learn where they're supposed to be. It's right on the edge.
Yeah. That's sage wisdom. I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah. No, I appreciate what you said too.
Dude, I mean, like, you know what I think of, like, this stuck in my mind, like, the first time you said this, you were like, you can't let people who are being, like, whack, you can't encourage that behavior, which, like, I think is, like, I think it's very interesting because it's, like, yeah, okay, the way in which you're saying that you can't encourage people to be, like, whack, right? You can't support that, like, like, that sounds, like, very casual, but the thought behind it, like, that's elevated as fuck. Because it's like, if you just put up with somebody either, like, fucking around with what your boundaries may be, or, like, going against, like, your straight morals, or you're just allowing them to be a shitty version of themselves, like, that is exactly what you're talking about with teaching. Like, it's like, okay, I'm not going to reprimand you, but, like, I'm not going to laugh at what you have to say, and I'm going to give you body cues that, you know, I didn't enjoy that. Like, and other people probably wouldn't either. But it's because you love that person, like, and I feel like, you know, sometimes, I don't know if this is going to be too low for my phone to pick up, but sometimes I feel like people who maybe I live with, like, you know, I gotta do that, like, you know, you just gotta be like, okay, sometimes.
Right. Sometimes some of the people who you're involved with, like, some of the people that I'm involved with, like, they'll say, like, an off, like, mark comment, and you'll be like, okay.
Right.
Like, let's talk about what's happening here. Like, my girlfriend Carolyn's roommate, I don't know, you obviously know she's my girlfriend, but I'm talking to the fans here.
Yes, you do.
Her roommate, like, made some off-color remarks, like, the other night, and, like, it's weird, like, to address. So, like, I was with her the next morning. Carolyn had told me about it. Carolyn was upset about it. She was like, this is, like, shit. Like, I feel terrible that I'm this person's roommate. Like, she felt, like, guilty, like, from association. Like, she just was, like, very unhappy with the way...
Is it, like, just ignorant
shit? It was, like, just ignorant, like, racist shit.
Oh.
Yeah, and so Carolyn was upset about it, obviously, and then the next morning, we were all in the kitchen together, and she was, like... She, like, dropped the R word, and then, like, in front of, like, everyone. It wasn't just, like... It was, like, people she knew and people she didn't know.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, I work with a bunch of, like, R-word people. And, like, that's, like, her job. Like, she works with special... And I literally... But there's something, like... And the thing is, too, like, something I've been trying...
Where's the disconnect there?
I don't know. Something's broken, mate. Dude, something's broken.
So many people are like that, though. So many people.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, but when you say it like that...
Yeah.
When you say it like there's no chance that it could be a joke.
Right.
That you could actually, like, just be kidding... Like, and certain things you shouldn't joke about anyways, but it's like when you say it like that, man, like, then it's just... and I literally was like, special needs. That's what I said. She said the R word, and then I was like,
special needs?
she was talking to me, and I was like, special needs? Like,
Right.
and she's like, yeah, you could call it that or something. And I was like, okay, like, but there's something simple that, like, that's what I mean. Like, that's the kind of thing, like Carolyn's upset about it. She doesn't want to confront her roommate. She's living with the person. It's awkward. Like, she's hopefully going to, like, eventually, but it's weird, right? And so it's like, it's a hard situation to be in. But I'm there, and I don't give a shit what she thinks about me, which is important, because that's an important aspect of just being a human. Like, if you just don't care, then it makes things so much easier. And I was like, do you mean special needs? Like, I literally just, like, boom, right out. And, like, there, like, that's a spot for correction. If people would do that more, because I understand, like, this girl probably is, like, so insecure that thinks she needs to say the R word to be funny. Right? So it's like, that sucks.
A wise perspective.
That sucks. And if you can have empathy for people instead of being like, wow, like, the way our politics are now, like, fuck you, fuck your opinion, fuck your thoughts, you're a fucking idiot. Instead of doing that, being just like, wow, that person must, like, really be not themselves right now. Like, how can I be honest but still understand? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
It's so hard.
That's something
to
that
do.
I've been struggling to do recently. Like, a few days ago, I blew up on, like, all my roommates about just, like, you know, we have, like, political talks sometimes. And, you know, it's like, 3 of them are conservative. 1 of them is, like, you know, neither here nor there, straight center. But he sides liberal and all this stuff. Like, you know, I've had so many talks where I get, like, ganged up on, where it's like, fuck, I gotta release all this. And I realized immediately after doing it, after it was too late, obviously, and I apologized profusely, because, like, I knew I wasn't being my best self, like, obviously. Like, they were like, no, you know what, it's okay, because, like, we get it. But I was still like, fuck. Like, I was not being an empathic person, because I wasn't understanding the fact that they're coming from a totally different background than me. Like, it's the same, I preach acceptance and shit for people with a different background than me that are less advantaged, but it's like, people who are more advantaged, I have no empathy for, and I should. Because, like, you know, it's a good old saying of, like, hardship breeds excellence, or, like, that kind of thing. Like, you know, they haven't had as many struggles. And not that I've struggled. Like, I'm incredibly, like...
Everyone struggled, though, right?
In some respects, yes. But, you know, I shouldn't feel that... I shouldn't, like, shit on them because maybe they've had a little less struggle. And, you know, sometimes I fucking stray from that narrative of trying to educate. But it's fucking hard to do that all the time. Sometimes you just want to be like, hey, idiot, like, listen. Like...
And I think, Nate, to give yourself a little bit of a break with somebody, like, who is as well educated and intelligent as you are, to come into a conversation like that and just know that there's just some things that you know are true, and they don't understand that, and it doesn't matter that you know that they're true, because they'd rather just base their shit off opinions, and you know what I mean? And I think that's a big frustration of the right, actually, with the left, is that we try, like, to use data and facts, and then the left is like, but we try to just use emotion and that kind of thing, and it's not really, like, that cut and clean. Like, it goes both ways. Both are bad, I think. I don't like either. I'm somewhere right in the middle, and, like, it's just hard to be, like, it's hard to come at that with a level head and be like, I understand. But it's it's practice what you preach, right? Which is, again, like, I'm pretty sure that's religious too, right? Like, and so it's like, it goes back to that. It's like, okay, like, you practice acceptance and empathy, and, like, I say this to myself all the time. I'm not coming at you. Like, I say this to myself all the time. I'm like, I wake up and try to be a positive person, and when I get mad at somebody, I think in my head, how are you fucked up that you're mad right now? Instead of how are they fucked up that they made me mad? What's fucking wrong with you, douchebag?
Dude, genuinely, I want to know, where does that come from?
You want to know?
Yeah.
That fucking book I read.
Really?
Yes. Here we go.
No, but Hale, you've been like this for a long time.
I've been very lucky to be blessed with this mentality without working for it, and now I'm working for it, and it's amazing. Like, I think that I'm luckily somebody who won the lottery and doesn't overthink things.
Right.
And I think that simplicity of my mindset up until now has been amazing. And like I was telling you last time we were talking, like, I feel like I've been asleep for like 20 years, like 19 years, and I feel like I just woke up.
You know what's interesting? Do you feel that way because you're overthinking more?
Yes.
So, my whole life I've struggled with overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, so much to the point where, like, I had to be on, like, sleeping medicine for a while because, like, I would overthink so much before going to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't do it. So, like, my active thing to do in every situation is shut your fucking brain off. Because, like, I don't think you realize how much of a gift it is that it's easy for you to, like, just be here. Like, that's a divine gift, and like that's something that like I fucking pray for every day. Not literally, but like I try to manifest.
You
that.
work
like,
for it, bro, and you have to manifest. When you manifest, when you say it, you have to also work for it.
Right. That's the fucking
the actionable steps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was trying to say that.
No, I am lucky, and you know what made me realize that I was lucky was when I wasn't feeling like that. Like when I like quote unquote, I know this is like a dramatic example, like when I woke up and I started thinking about shit.
Right.
I was like, whoa, like this is like I just like you ever have a dream and you ever have a thought and you're like, imagine if I was a baby and I just woke up right now from a dream.
Yeah.
Like that's kinda how I felt. I was like looking around in quarantine. I have so much time to think. I'm with my parents all the time.
Right.
It was different. Something switched in me,
Yes.
and I became more conscious. I became less blissfully unaware of all of the realities that surrounded my life. And I'm very lucky to still have a lot of that with me, but just understanding a tiny bit of how that made me feel when I was feeling like that tells me how lucky I am that I don't feel like that already.
Yeah.
But this book, man, it's called My Miracle Morning. And I wish I had a hardcover copy of it because I would just give it to you and listen to it on Audible.
Yeah.
And dude, it just makes you focused on all the important things. Like it gives you a platform to like follow through with like the most important things you could do to make yourself a better person. You know what I mean?
I know that does sound like very enticing. I mean, I'm gonna be
It sounds a little scary though, right? Like, because if you read it and nothing happens, then you failed, right?
No,
that scares me.
I think, dude, in all honesty, the path of like either, yo, are you going upstairs?
Yo.
Have fun, Christian.
I don't want to interrupt this.
You're good, bro.
Do you want to be
I
a
just
momentary
wanted to
guest?
Yeah, dude. Christian Lyons in the motherfucking building, baby.
Yo, what up? What up?
We're inviting Boston's best into the room real quick.
Absolutely. Go Bees. Go Ticks. Go Sox.
Christian, so briefly, we were
This is
talking-
perfect. Let me take a piss while you're doing this.
All right, so briefly, we were talking about the fact that Champion's an overrated fashion brand.
Okay.
And it's actually symbolic of super poor people.
Okay.
And that was how it was rendered for a lot of, the early 2000s.
Can I just stop you here?
I'd love you for do.
Are
I'd love
you
for you to
just-
do that.
Are you just asking
Yeah.
because I'm wearing a Champion shirt?
Oh, no, I like that Champion shirt.
Okay.
But,
All right. So let me give you a brief rundown of Champion.
yep.
Basically, it was popular way back in the 90s and early 2000s.
And poor people, they fuck with them.
You know,
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that's a proper analyzation, but
Analysis.
for analysis, shit. Sorry, folks, had a little bit too much wine tonight. But listen, here's the thing. Definitions change, and trends are definitely heading upward for the Champion brand. I'm not a brand ambassador, so champion, if you're listening to this, please, support your boy, struggling college student.
I would just like to say Blissfully Unaware has a temporary partnership and unofficial with Champion Sports. If you'd like to go ahead and pick up a Champion shirt like the King of Boston is wearing right now, you can head on over to your local Dick's. I believe they also retail online. We'll get a small kickback emotionally, but not financially. But yeah, I encourage you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, boys. I feel like it's very necessary for everyone to have one Champion a piece of apparel in their wardrobe. So thank you for unofficially sponsoring us. Yeah, that's all I got.
Christian, I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely, boys.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
It's been a pleasure. And to the audience, go fuck yourself.
Oh my god.
Douchebag.
Fuck you.
And we're back.
You walked in and I was telling him how we were talking about how Champion's a shit clothing brand. The audience knows, they've been following.
They're up to date. I just had the piss of my life, dude.
Really?
Oh, amazing. You gotta go?
I do.
Go ahead, bro. It's fine.
Alright, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
I'm
straight.
gonna pee real quick.
Yeah, do it, bro.
I gotta piss like a fucking
I
racehorse.
feel like we can pause this somehow. Oh, okay, perfect. We're back in business.
Alright.
That was super gas, bro.
Alright, so we just had a quick piss break. We're getting in a little bit more wine. We got Pink Moscato, Franzia's sponsor. Oh, fuck, it's on the desk. Franzia's sponsoring this episode. Look at that. No turn-off transferal right there.
I'm telling you what, guys. We don't have sponsors, but thank you to our sponsors. This is perfect. I mean, we couldn't have had a better situation going on tonight here.
Yeah, frankly, all the boys came through for this.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like it was a big effort by the client.
I know.
To make this happen.
Dude, alright, next, we're with Franzia right now. I want Jaeger on the next episode.
Okay,
I'll
let's
be
get silly with it.
I'll be starting an anarcho-capitalist movement against Jaeger if I don't get a response within a week, so...
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It sounds
I feel-
right. It sounds right to me.
What were we talking about before we broke this?
That's the hard part, bro. I think I was saying something about... I've been saying so much shit. Some bullshit about...
You know what? Let's just fucking broach into a different topic.
Okay, good idea.
How about the fact that I understand I'm alienating parts of our audience by doing this, but Springfield College is a mess right now.
Oh, dude.
I
You know what?
this is...
You're not alienating them because, like, this is an inside look at, like, what college looks like right now for
Right.
anyone who's curious.
Yeah, it's not all liberal strongholds everywhere, and there's not like a solid conservative basis at like Temple University and all of that. Like, it's weird. Like, we go to a small private college, like
Yeah.
2,500 undergrad,
Yeah.
and we've got fucking like, there is a whole movement right now, like the Instagram page. It's
Black at Springfield. Yeah.
yeah, Black at Springfield, like, and it's, you know, people who are minorities talking about like their experience here, and like,
Not positive. It's not very positive.
it's not, but like the sad reality is like they're not having a positive experience
Right,
here.
right,
And, like,
that's what I mean.
my heart breaks because like objectively it's an amazing school, like, and I can say that because like I have the privilege to be like a white student here who had my parents pay for like half of my school. Like,
Mhm.
obviously I'm very lucky, but like on that same token, there are so many amazing programs that this school offers that, you know, do not discriminate by race. Like,
Yeah.
rugby was one of the best things that happened in my life. Like, I met you through there. I met Luke through there. I
Yeah.
met Fab through there. Like, I mean,
The best people.
yes, and
Yeah.
also like some of the most enduring relationships. Like, Fab went off to the Marines.
You guys are still in
And-
contact.
Dude, he fucking first week here. He came in here and we were drinking together.
Something beautiful about that.
Nothing. Like, it was like
Yeah.
he changed so much, but it was still just like,
Right.
you know, no time's passed.
Mhm,
Like that shit's crazy. Like,
There's something really beautiful about that.
yeah.
Some of my friends from home are like that too. Shout out fucking Chris and Pat Hodgson and Ryan and fucking all the boys.
Isn't that? Oh my god. Isn't that so necessary though?
Yes.
Like,
shout them out, bro. With the boys.
Dude,
Shout them out. They'll hear this sometime.
The fucking guys, Rory, John, Evan, Mark, Kevin, fucking Jeremy, Noah, like.
So gas.
My fault if I don't mention someone, but like.
I know. I feel like that too. I gotta add like fucking Jackie Carson, fucking Isaac and Ian and Brock.
Isaac on the shit.
Yeah, dude, Isaac on the shit. Like, dude, the thing is, like, those enduring relationships, and like getting back to what we were saying,
Yeah.
like, after we just shouted out the boys, fucking like getting back to just being like, yeah, like, when you have a relationship with somebody where you can go from seeing them like multiple times a week,
Right.
and then not see them for, 3 months, 4 months, and then come back and see
Yeah.
them and be like, oh, like, I feel like I just saw you yesterday, bro, like,
Yeah.
how you doing? Like, there's something really beautiful in that.
And it's tough because, like, I don't know, I'm guessing you've been friends with all those guys for a very long time, right? Like, I've known all my friends for, like,
Yeah.
the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like the degree of brotherhood that makes, it's not the fact that you're growing up together or that you realize your interests are very similar.
Right.
It's the fact that since you all grew up together, like, I don't know how your friend group works, but like, we fucking hang out every day. It's
Yeah.
like, somebody throws some shit in the group chat, it's like, what are we doing today, guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Word.
it's like everybody's like, oh, well, we're down, but we gotta find something. So like,
Yeah.
like having that degree of like trust and mutual like I don't know, solidarity almost. It's like you've built all of that because you guys have all been friends for so long that like one person's interests mesh with another,
Yeah.
and it influences the entire
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
It
For
creates
sure.
a beautiful group dynamic, but it almost I almost feel like it stunted me because like, I love just talking to people who are different from that. I love the fuck out of all of them, and it's like an equal love to be like, oh, like for my own sake, like I gotta be able to talk to somebody different because if I'm talking to people who like I don't have to try it all with, yeah, that's beautiful, but it's not challenging me. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Because it's so easy. Like all my friends, massive nerds.
Yeah.
So it's like if we really wanted to, we could just be like, fuck it, we're all feeling low energy today. Let's just talk about Lord of the Rings for fucking 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like
That's cool, bro. That is not the same relationship I have with my friends. Like on that, like really intelligent level. I have this one. Like my friends are all smart, but they're not like really smart, except for a couple of them. Chris is wicked smart. My friend Chris is like, he's fucking smart. And
was he the one that visited last year that goes to school in Canada?
yeah, yep. He goes to McGill and like he's wicked smart. And like my friend Ryan is really smart too, but he doesn't really like school's not really his thing.
Oh.
But like he's wicked smart. Like he's the kind of kid like very athletic, picks shit up fast,
Right.
and also like has the most amazing memory. Like yeah, the most amazing memory. So I know he's smart.
Right.
It just like it's like interesting, but like you're saying, like you don't need like I completely draw the parallel from what you're saying to my friends and just like, and then that gets back to the thing on campus we were talking about, just like not everyone feels like they have a relationship where they can do that, and then
Right.
that just is like that's hard,
tough.
and then college is hard, and then everything kind of piles up on itself, and then you get like a really negative outlook on the way that things are, and for good
Yes.
reason, right?
Yes.
Like that's a bummer. Like I wish people
Yeah.
didn't feel like that.
It makes you want to go out and be like, fuck, I just want to be friends with everybody. I want to offer everybody the opportunity.
Yeah.
But
Everybody too, not just minorities, because you don't want like the last
Oh,
thing that
yeah.
right. No, I know what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be like, like, oh, like I have so many friends, whatever, all that kind of thing, like that classical stereotypical statement, but also just like being like, yeah, like I like they overextend, and like people should just all be treated the same. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you overextend and you smile at somebody because like people say that all the time. Like I've seen memes that are just like black people on like making a like rolling their eyes because like some white person just like said they were sorry to them on the street.
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah.
they don't want to like people like that
Right.
are oppressed don't want to be treated different. They want to be treated the same. So when you treat them as if they're like oppressed,
Right.
then you're literally contributing to the oppression.
Yeah.
From a completely different angle, from the other end of the room, right?
Yeah.
People that are oppressed don't want that. From from the experience that I have gathered, and I mean, I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like
no, I think you're right, because like, and I'm gonna reach here, and this is gonna sound
go ahead, bro, because you've done that 3 times and it hasn't been a reach at all. I'm ready.
Okay, I can relate to people who like are obviously like socially anxious in a way that I think other people can relate to people who are minorities, if that makes sense. Not that I can't relate to minorities, I think I can. Obviously we have different life experiences, but it's not like, oh, I only like white. Fuck it, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean, bro. No, I know what you mean, Nate. I know what you mean. There's a compatibility that comes with being a certain way.
Yes. So, and we were fucking talking about this earlier with like tribalism and seeking like our homogenous group, our easy to access group.
Right.
Like, but it's that feeling of fuck. Like, I understand exactly what you're going through. So like, let me help you. Maybe I'm just farther along in this journey than you are.
Right.
Like, I think about life as like different, like fucking. Like, let's video gamify it. Like, think of it as different skill trees. Like, you have your academic skill tree, your career skill tree, your physical skill tree, your emotional skill tree, your spiritual, all that shit.
Right.
And you have a finite amount of years, and in those years, you have a certain amount of proverbial skill points, and you can put those shits in anywhere, right? But like, at 20, I would much rather have my emotional or spiritual path way more developed than my academic path, because like, if I can get my head right, like, I can probably deal with anything else. And I can't tell you how many people I've met here where it's just like, fuck, like, you're far along in your academic path, and you're real far along maybe physically or like career-wise, but dog, you haven't put anything into spirituality or emotion or like just deep thought. And
your health, your mental health. Yeah. It bums me out too, and it's easier. The thing that I've found, like a common truth between people that struggle with something like that, is like, it's just easier to not try. Because if you try, for most people that I know that are like depressed, if you try, there's a chance that you're gonna fail.
Right.
But if you don't try, and I'm not like coming up with this myself, like I've heard this from a lot of different places before, but like I've found it to be repeatedly true. It's easier to be upset and uncomfortable than it is to fail. And that goes back to just caring about what other people think. And that's why I want to send you some videos, bro. Like this guy Gary Vee, bro, have you seen any of his stuff? He's an entrepreneur, so he takes a business standpoint, but he gives life advice, and you would love it. It's so insightful. He is so passionate, driven, smart, so fucking smart. His emotional, his EQ is just off the fucking charts.
Really?
Like it, and just all that kind of thing. Like he knows. Yeah. Okay. And he does speeches now, and like motivational speeches and things like that, and just a lot of the stuff that, like, a lot of my ideas are from him. Like, because it's so impactful the way that he says things. It's sick, dude.
That's interesting.
And so, like, that kind of thing makes you rethink about the way that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think
I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we all have, like, those kind of people in our life. Like, I mean, there's this dude, Alex Gray, he's an artist. Like, you see me, like, post hella shit from my story. He has this podcast called The Church of the Sacred Mirrors. And it's just named after, like, the sect of spirituality that he's created with his wife. But, I mean, ridiculously wise man. I mean, he talks about, like, if you look at, like, the language that which he talks, he says God, but he means, like, the Godhead, like, the web of spirits and shit. Like, he is so fucking developed. Like, the way in which he speaks, you're like, holy fuck. Like, I'm listening to an immortal soul right now. I'm not listening to the ego shine through even at all. And it's not the fact that he's turned off the ego. It's that the soul is what's speaking, but it's still hearing the ego. So it understands what he needs, and it understands what is going to benefit him and his wife on an individual level. But that infinite soul, that being of like pure light within him, like just shines so fucking bright. And in every way that he talks, it's just like,
wow.
yeah,
That was beautiful, man. That was like
Yeah.
really, like you took me all the way there when you said that. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
yeah,
That's amazing.
he's ridiculously insightful.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's something really free about that, right? Like
Yes.
something really like you're completely untied from the chains of other people's opinions and even your own opinions that are negative,
Yeah.
right?
That's a huge part. A huge part of spirituality is knowing that, you know, a lot of people say we're our own biggest critic, and that rings true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because getting to the point where you can be confident without other people's judgment, you're just like, okay, fuck, like whatever. Like most of us have that figured out by our mid-20s,
Right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Or by our
It'll
30s
help if
maybe.
you do, yeah.
Right. So then we get to the point where if we're our only critic, how the fuck do you get comfortable with a voice inside your own head that you can't get away from doing that?
So, dude, this is something Gary Vee talks about, and it's
Okay.
mad cool because he talks about he'll get people texting him or DMing him and being like, I hear you talk about like not caring what other people think. That's like one of his biggest things. It's just like having the freedom to not care about what other people think about you. And he says that he gets DMs from people that are like, yeah, but like Gary, I don't care about what other people think about me, but what I'm saying to myself is what's bringing me down. Like, I'm
Yeah.
shitting on myself.
Yes.
And then Gary Vee is like, yeah, but you weren't born shitting on yourself. Somebody
Oh,
else
Gary Vee.
put that in your head. He
What
goes,
the
that's
fuck?
your mom that told you weren't good enough to go to that college. That's your dad who said you weren't strong enough to play at that level of sport or whatever. Like, that's not you. That's your best friend who is so negative and evil that, like, and dude, like, this man, I'm telling you, he is so wise.
Hell, I'm gonna be real with you.
Mm.
I hate to interrupt this, but I think we think in the same way, but from a very different source.
Yes.
Because this exact same thing is what, like, people who, really spiritual people or people who are, like, into Buddhism or whatever, like, even, like, psychologists who are trying to do, like, the right thing for people, it's all about silencing that inner self, and there's just different verbiage that they use. But what you're talking about is the whole idea of intrinsic trauma or childhood trauma, where we suffer something early on in our development that sticks with us for a very long time.
Yeah. That you weren't born with.
Right. That's, dude, that
You would
fucking
love-
just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check this dude out.
Well, you would love listening to him talk, you know, because it would bring it, because he says it so much more beautifully than I can.
I just spilled wine on myself.
There you go. It's that time of the night.
Fuck. Dude, that's unfortunate. You gonna wash out of gray?
Oh, dude. This is like mostly sugar.
Alright.
If it was like red wine, you'd be in a little more trouble.
Right.
This is you'd be good.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do anything with it. Just put it in the wash. That's my guess.
Alright.
Yeah,
I'm trusting that. It'll probably
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, but the thing too, Nate, is like this book that I just finished reading called My Miracle Morning. You start with silence or meditation. So what I like for a part of the time that I do it, so when I started doing it, I did 10 minutes of every exercise, and there's 6 of them, so it takes an hour. And I'll probably wake up at like 6:30 tomorrow to do it. And we're like both under the influence right now.
Yeah.
I would like to sleep in and get my sleep. I did it this morning early, and I went to bed late the night before, and I knew I was gonna be tired today.
Right.
But I was like, I would rather just be tired and drink a coffee and fall asleep in class than not do this.
What?
Yes, it's amazing. And the book, you don't really need to read the book. It helps so much if you do. I recommend reading it. But I can tell you the things you do. You wake up, you do silence, you do your meditation. You can do 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fucking hard. You let the thoughts that come to your head, and then you dismiss them and move on, and you try not to get pulled into them for too long. Okay? And then for part of it, what I'll do is I'll breathe in something and breathe out something. So, like, what I've been, like, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. I'll, like, make a conscious effort to breathe in understanding. And this is, like, really foo-foo and, like, you know, out there. But, like, okay, I'm saying the words in my head and focusing on the breath channeling through my body. Yeah. I breathe in understanding, and I breathe out positivity.
I don't think that's foo-foo. I think that's legit as fuck.
It changes the way that your brain perceives the world, because this is the direct example of why I use that verbiage. I breathe in understanding when some fucking dickhead is being a dickhead.
Yeah.
I'm actually understanding when I breathe in. I'm not mad.
Right.
And then when I breathe out positivity and love and empathy. Because that's what that person needs, not anger. And
that's fucking
so
beautiful.
That's the first 10 minutes, bro. And then you have your affirmations for the next 10 minutes where you talk about what you want out of your day, and you speak out loud about the things that you think need to happen.
I do the affirmations.
Good.
I love the affirmations.
That's so awesome. That's my favorite part.
I do the affirmations, and I do either yoga or meditation in the morning.
Cool.
But it's only for like 20 minutes.
Cool. No,
Like,
that's enough.
That's
good, bro.
It does make you feel better.
Yes.
And I'm not good about doing it every morning.
So here's the thing. That's why I like this book. Is it's a combination of what all of the most successful people do.
Right.
For their morning routine. It combines all of it. So then you do visualization.
Uh-huh.
And you just, first, what I do, I see my whole day. I see myself being positive.
Yeah.
I see myself being happy, smiling, and taking care of the people that I care about, and getting all my shit done easily. Boom, 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 boom. And then I flash forward to 15, 20 years in the future, and I picture what my success, I hope, looks like then.
Okay.
I hope that I am happy. That's
Right.
what I want for my success 15 years in the future, and what I want to be doing, and I picture it, and I picture who I'm with and how I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boom. Now you've got meditation, affirmation, visualization. Now you're into exercise.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes, it can be yoga or whatever. Okay, that's a little short, so what I've changed it up a little, so some things are shorter, some things are longer. Like I did longer exercises now and shorter meditation, whatever.
Yeah.
So then you do reading, and you read something positive for 10 minutes. That's it. Just 10 minutes. And then you do a journaling, and you just whatever's on your brain, you let it out on. And dude, it's, if you break it down, it's 10 minutes of each of those things. Think about all of the growth you could have in 60 minutes of, I'm telling you, I'm going to wake up at 6:30 and do it in the morning.
I respect the fuck out of that.
It's cool.
Dude, that is exactly, those 6 things are what, like, if you look at the prescribed treatments for depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, borderline personality, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
What you're talking about right now, that is exactly what therapists try to get people to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking fascinating. Like,
it's cool because it worked for me.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool, and I think it worked for me because I'm making sure I'm working for it. Like, I'm really trying. Like, this semester, I have been, like, I think because of my, like, conscious awakening a little bit, like, as dramatic and weird as it sounds, like, I think that I've stepped to a point of capacity where I can actually work on this stuff because I'm thinking about it. If I don't,
hell, I hate to be this guy.
What's up?
You need to trip.
I know.
You're at the point right now where you've just broached from the conscious mind into the unconscious mind. Your shit needs to trip. Like, I
promise I will.
I'm not saying do it this weekend.
Yeah.
But at some point, do mushrooms.
We should do mushrooms together. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah.
I'm so down.
I would like to do mushrooms before I do acid, if I do acid at all.
I would recommend that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this may incriminate me, but so the other day, Adam and I were talking about selling salvia on campus.
Okay.
And
what is that?
So, okay, salvia's fucked, right? So when I was younger, like, me and my friends would look up, like, videos of people just, like, basically ODing on salvia. And it's a psychedelic. So these people would like, they'd rip it. And what's interesting about salvia is like, right, mushrooms, LSD, they have like a timer, right? Like, you're like, oh, it's like an hour, hour and a half, 45 minutes, should be kicking in right about now. Salvia, you exhale, it's a leaf that you smoke. Like, the moment you exhale, you're tripping balls immediately.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I watched, I don't know, have you heard of Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia? Okay, this dude, Hamilton Morris, he's fucking nuts.
Okay.
Like, he's, I think he's an organic chemist by trade. But he has the series, Vice produced it, it's on Hulu, I think. Like, he talks about the social ramifications of different drugs and their chemistry and how they impact the human body. And he has this one episode on salvia divinorum, which is an uncontrolled substance in the U.S., meaning it's not scheduled. There's no fines or laws against possession or distribution. For cultivation, it's a Class A misdemeanor, which is almost nothing. So that's if you're growing with the intention to distribute. So basically, yeah, in the early 2000s, you could buy this shit on Amazon. So I realized that the other night we were talking about, like, fuck man, like, I'm poor as fuck.
Yeah.
So what if we sold salvia on campus?
That'd be crazy.
It's a 15-minute trip. It hits you immediately, and you know it's similar to mushrooms. It's not similar to acid. And people distrust LSD because it's manufactured. It's like not organic, but like we found a fucking website, and they go, "Hey, $16 for a 10x gram." We're like, okay. Yeah, and only a quarter of a gram will make a
interesting,
trip.
bro.
Yeah. So we immediately went to the business route. We were like,
Right.
We're like, fuck, like, let's buy this for 16, sell it as a quarter of a gram each. Each quarter of a gram we're paying $4 for. We can sell it to dealers for $8. We'll remove ourselves from the supply chain. This shit, like, they can market it as in between an acid trip and a mushroom trip. Acid's normally 10 to 15, mushrooms are normally 15 to 20. The dealer can sell it for however much they want. I'm guessing they're going to sell it for 12. They're still making a 50% return on their profit, like, or on their buy-in. Like, that is normal. That's way higher than weed. Drug dealers normally make 20% profit.
People don't make shit on some weed.
Don't make much. Like,
Interesting, man. That's very interesting.
right.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
Salvia is one of those psychedelics that kind of gets swept under the rug because it's very easy to have a super bad trip on it.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we had seen growing up. We were like, fuck, salvia is the penultimate. I mean, we had always been obsessed with, like,
Interesting.
I can't wait till we can trip. Like,
Salvia? Or just
no,
anything?
Just anything.
Oh yeah.
Like, my friend group from home, it's like, we've, like, always been kind of like,
Interesting.
we all grew up going through, like, the accelerated program. Like, we were all in all the AP classes, but we didn't take it seriously. But we still just, like, we didn't, like, we weren't studying, like, we weren't doing homework, but we were still getting, like, good ass grades and stuff. So it was like, oh, we don't fuck with other people because, like, we feel like we're smarter than them. We weren't. We just got lucky genetically and were able to fit what the school system, like, wanted to test for. So we just got lucky in that respect.
I agree with the way you think about intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. Like, I like that a lot. There's a lot of different
that's
kinds.
How it is. That's how it is. Like,
I agree.
So we always thought, like, oh, we could fucking take mushrooms, like, and we should. Like, we're smarter than other people. An arrogant fucking thing to say. So the first time we took shrooms, it put us on our ass. Like, perspectivized everything. Like, it made me realize, oh, I'm a horrible person. Like, dude, back in, like, high school, I used to just be, like, a bad person. Like, the first 2 girlfriends I had, like, I don't think I treated them right. Like, and I don't mean, like, there was no verbal abuse, there wasn't hitting.
No, but it just wasn't the way you would do it now.
Yeah, dude. Like, putting myself first in every aspect. Like, what are you doing? Like, other people, like, I'd interact with them, and I was just, like, needlessly rude because that was comfortable for me.
Right, which is what you were saying earlier,
right, defense mechanism, like.
So interesting.
Yeah, but shrooms kind of opened that up, and, like.
That's cool.
I think you know, I forget where I started with this.
Well, you wanted me to take shrooms or take acid, yeah.
Well, right. I would say start with shrooms first.
Yeah.
But like, salvia is interesting because it's 15 minutes. It's DMT like if you take 30x, which is, I think it's equivalent to like 300 micrograms of LSD, which is a significant amount. Like that'll get you.
Yeah,
like,
that'll be fucked.
You close your eyes, you're uncomfortable all of a sudden. Like,
dude, I don't think I would like that though. It kind of scares me, bro.
I wouldn't either. I mean, that's why like.
That's why you do it though, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because and this is gonna sound fucked up, but I almost feel some sort of religious way toward it. Like, there's something about psychedelics.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it gets you out of your own mind.
Yeah.
The weird thing is every time I've tripped, I've had a different trip, but I've had the same mindset in all of them. If that makes sense, like a certain version of Nate comes out, and every time it's the same, no matter what I'm taking.
Do you think that's like your real Nate self?
I think it dissolves the ego. I mean, I remember the last year, I mean, that was one of the hardest periods of my life. It was the most depressed I've ever been. It was the most anxious I've ever been. I couldn't talk to anybody without getting, like, socially anxious. And, like, the only thing that, like, got me through that year was Callie. Like, I mean, she's an amazing fucking human being. Like, I just didn't have anybody else in my life that, like, understood what I was going through. And, I mean, like, you know, she's, like, no hate on her. Like, she's a basket case too. Like, we're both fucked up.
Yeah.
Like.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like the fact that she deals with that and understood where I was coming from was amazing. Like, the trip that I had last year, like that was straight up ego death. I forgot who I was for a little bit. Like, when I came.
I remember you saying you had a really bad trip and like it fucked you up. Was it the night we smoked?
Yeah. It was the night when Troll came. Like.
Yeah.
We're in a war.
Bro.
That
was one of the most intense experiences I've ever had, and I was only on smoking weed.
Yeah.
You were high and fucking gone.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like I literally thought we were, in my high mind, just from weed, we were at war, and I was running for my life.
I thought I heard and saw gunshots.
Amazing.
Like, dude.
In the worst way, amazing.
It, like, traumatized me in a way, and it shouldn't have. But like, I had this feeling like we got back inside. Do you remember me talking about like, oh, we look like we're on a Toy Story set?
Yeah, I remember you really like talking it out, bro, and being like, whoa, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every light looked fake. It was saturated. It looked like it passed through an Instagram filter.
Damn.
I was watching like, I think I was watching Dan, Adam, and Christian talk to each other about something. Their faces were yellow. So it was almost like I had this feeling that I was peeking behind the veil. I felt like there was a biological veil that was being applied because we normally sense pheromones from each other where we get this lively sense of interaction as if conversation is somehow an organic process.
Yeah.
And like I was divorced from that. I didn't get that pheromone response. I didn't get any dopamine release when I like talked to people or heard people talk. Like it felt like I was talking to brick walls. But then that yellow pallor over the face made me go, there's no blood running through these people. Like, but it wasn't, that's not what it really was. I understand it was a distortion, but my problem was that I was trying to relate reality to a non-real state. Like, I mean, I was not in our prime reality, and I was trying to understand it, but it was telling me, like, you know, maybe it was this message where, like, I'm looking around, everybody, they look fake, but it's because I'm not allowing them to be real. I'm not opening up my true self to them. I'm not letting down my shell. I'm, like, this feeling of disconnection I felt with these people, it was terrifying, and I thought I'd never be the same. Like, I went down to Callie's room, my girlfriend, and I'm laying in bed with her, and like, you know the fucking sparks you feel? Like, I'm sure you touch Carolyn, and like you're like, fuck, like I feel like I have something here. I laid down next to her and I felt nothing. I was like, what? I literally was going, like, I was tapping her back with my hand, like open palm, and I was like, I feel nothing.
That's
and
horrifying.
That was terrifying for me.
I bet.
But it did make me realize I need to focus more on myself, because the only thing I have is myself, ultimately. And that's not even from a nihilistic perspective.
I agree.
That's just like a self-help type thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't help her if you can't help yourself.
right. And also I realized I put up my walls far too much. So like, you know, and it's hard. Around people I'm comfortable with, I can just be like, hey, here's like my shit.
Right.
But, you know, people who maybe I'm not that comfortable with, it'll either like, I'll just be like, oh, you get fake me. Like, which isn't good. And I'm not proud of that, but it's like, it is a defense thing. Like,
Yeah, well, you talked about it on the start of this whole last thing where you
Yeah,
were saying,
yes.
like, it just... You like it when people are raunchy and edgy and masculine because it's easy to relate to, and, like, it's easy to be like, yeah, I get you for being, like, weirdly aggressive. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I want to be because I'm nervous right now and anxious in this situation. And, like, alright, so, like, here, so just so, like, it's not just you saying what makes you anxious. Like, for me, it's, like... I'm trying to think of something, like, that...
dude, you know what? Don't say anything just to make me feel better. Like,
No.
Do you get anxious? Because
Yeah.
I feel like, dude, I honestly,
You sound like Carolyn. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Carolyn
Does she
said that
like-
to me all the time. She's like, "You're fine."
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'll try to say like, "Hey, like I understand like how you feel. Like I care about you, and like I feel badly." And like I think part of her is like, "You don't fucking know."
Right.
And sometimes she says like the other day we were talking and I was like, well, like there's a lot that you do for me, like, and she's like, what do you mean? Like you don't need any help. And like that's not really true. Like I think that it's easy to like I think it's a misconception of where I'm putting my energy and where my energy goes. So I'm putting my energy into being a version of myself that is the most positive and happy and like self-sufficient version. And so sometimes, like, because I'm putting all that energy into that space, I need the opposite from other people. Like, from Carolyn, I get, like, support and love and, like, things that I don't go out and ask for.
Right.
She gives them to me because she knows I need them. And I need her for that. And, like, the fact that just because I don't get anxious in the same way that she does doesn't mean that I don't need her for certain things that, like certain things she does for me are just, like, it's the other side of the coin.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, dude, the thing about anxious people, like, once we get invested in someone, like, fiercely loyal. Like, it's like, you've probably experienced this with Carolyn. Like,
100%.
Yeah, like, I mean... I can't imagine, this is going to sound fucked up, I can't imagine dating somebody who was all there mentally, because they wouldn't have the same hang-ups. Like, I love the fact that Callie is as fucked up as I am. Like, it's amazing because we could both approach it from, we could just approach life from this thing of like, oh, we don't fucking get it, we suck at it, but, you know, we're each other's backup. Like, you turn around, I'm right fucking there. Like, you know, it's just like having that and having never had that before in my life. Like, you know, when I was younger, I just like, I didn't believe in like long-term relationships. Like, this is the longest relationship I've had, and it's only about to be a year.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I would normally just get bored or like, fuck, like, I'm over this, like, which isn't good. But
well, you weren't.
I think
you probably weren't there yet, right? You weren't
it's
ready.
It's of an immature mind.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, which is fine because we're immature for, well, hopefully the minimum amount of time that we can be. But we usually we're immature for a long fucking time, man. Like the first quarter of our life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's something that like you're saying. Like, I think it's hard often for Carolyn to understand like how much she means to me because my struggles aren't in this, like, my struggles are on the opposite side of the coin, like, from hers. And I think, like, for me, it's like, her struggles are manifested in, like, different things, like, you know, like, her anxieties and things like that, just, like, her own, her own struggles are opposite of mine in the way that like she gets nervous about things because she cares so much, and
Right.
I get sometimes nervous that like I don't care. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it's just different, and I think
Yeah.
like because it shows itself in a different way. She's like, well, you don't really understand how I feel, which is true, and like she's right when she says that, and that's what you're saying about Callie, how refreshing it is that you can have somebody who understands how you feel in that situation, right?
Even then, though, there are
There's
times-
discrepancies,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like she's super depressed and I'm super anxious, so it's like, oh, let's just create like a fucked up cocktail here, where like, you know, I understand that you're going through something, but I can't empathize with it directly. You know?
Yes, and that's what I try to make that like prevalent too when I'm talking to her, because it's like, yeah, like I understand, like I understand that I don't understand, like
Yeah. Yes.
but at the same time,
That's important.
like I still want you to be able to like take my advice and allow me to weigh in as
Right.
much as you possibly can, because I know how hard that is, but like just keep on listening, keep on like trying, because like no, you're not going to be there forever, and that's like the message that I always have for her, because that's what I tell myself too. Like a lot of things that I'm insecure about are like I always wonder like what it is that like annoys other people, like what it is about me that annoys other people, like you know what I mean. Like I worry about that, like maybe I shouldn't, like I worry about, this sounds crazy, but like sometimes I'm insecure about not being insecure. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah,
insecure
I do.
because
I
I
do.
worry that maybe I should be insecure, but I'm
Dog.
not.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I've legit wondered that before, because I've seen in multiple situations, like you're a very outgoing person, like
Yeah.
which is great, but you're also very considerate of other people, and I've seen multiple times where, I don't know whether you meant to broadcast this or not, like you welcome other people, but then I think you realize that you're being almost too outgoing and not allowing the other person, which is a fucking insane strength to have, by the way. But I've noticed you cut back when you kind of sense the vibe that the other person maybe isn't, and maybe that's a subconscious thing.
Mhm.
But when the other person maybe feels like they don't have enough room to do that, like
Yeah.
that is a crazy strength you have. Like that's something you should take a lot of pride in, because I think these anxieties, like, you know, am I being too much right now? Am I being not enough right now? Like
There's such a thing as a healthy anxiety, right?
Yes. Yes. Like, I mean, dude, that's why, like, you know, the DSM-5 only calls anxiety a bad thing once it starts to impair your day-to-day function.
Right.
Because we need a healthy amount of anxiety.
Yes.
If we don't have it, then we're fucked, and we're going to be an unconscious piece of shit who doesn't consider other people. But if we have too much, suddenly we're last place.
Isn't that crazy? It's on both ends of the spectrum.
Yin and yang. Yeah. I mean, a little bit of both.
Like it's on the other end where like you need it to be okay, and then
Yeah.
it's the reason you're not okay.
Yes.
And it's on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Everything is balancing of two.
It's
Fuck. Like.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's something to never forget about. Like
Yeah.
it's something to really like put into like make sure that you're adding that into your like thoughts when you consider things, because it's like what you want is going to take a little bit of beauty and love,
Mhm.
and it's going to take a little bit of evil and disaster, and it's
Yeah.
going to take the most roundabout, wide, like introspective accumulation of everything that you are to become what you want to be. Like it's going to take the
Yeah.
good and the bad, and it's going to take everything in between, like, and like my biggest thing is just like I refuse to give up on people's ability to be like sincerely happy. I think
Right.
that's I think sincere happiness is like probably the most beautiful thing
100%.
that this
but-
like life has to offer us. Like
Yeah.
you know, like it's Like, that's what you want for everyone that you love. That's what you want for yourself. You just want to be even-keeled. You want to be level. You want to be balanced, right?
And we've known that forever. Like,
We've always known that.
You know, Jesus is supposed to be somebody who loves everyone.
Right.
What do you call happiness at all times? Loving everyone.
Yes.
You know, Muhammad was supposed to be the same way. The Buddha's supposed to be
Yeah.
like that. Like, if you look back, everything is about that balance.
Yeah.
Finding love internally and externally. The problem is we're so human that we have ruined that divine message.
Right.
Like, and it's sick that, like, some of us are able to, like, realize that. But, like, even
Yeah.
I feel like we can both realize that, but at the same point, like, can we both act on? I can't speak for you, but I know for a fact I let my shit get out of whack.
Oh,
Constantly.
dude, me too, all the
Constantly,
time, all
yeah.
the time. I think that it's something to be said for when you let your shit out of whack and you don't know, and then when you let your shit out of whack and you know. Like, when you
Yeah.
know you let your shit
Yeah.
go out of whack, then there's a conscious effort to not do that again.
Right.
Right? Whereas, like, people who are, like, purely and truly ignorant, they don't know that they're out of whack, and then they
Right.
don't have a conscious effort to not do it again.
Doesn't that bum you out?
It bums me out.
My heart
It bums
fucking
me out.
breaks for those people. Dude, I see
Me
so
too.
many people like that in a day-to-day, especially at this campus, and it's just like,
Right.
I feel like I just I want to talk to them, and I want to be like, hey, fucking, here's how it is, like,
Mhm.
let's just, like, I'm here for you. But then it's like, I don't know, these people, like, not everybody wants my help. Less people than most want my help.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's almost like self-centered to be like, oh, I need to help all these people, because, like, obviously I don't have it figured out, but, like, my heart just fucking breaks for the people who I can tell are unbalanced, because it's like, dude, I've fucking been there before.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let me help you. I know this path.
That's something that weed did for me too. Like, weed
Yes.
allowed me to understand what it feels like to not be good. Like, weed was the first introduction of anxiety to my life.
Opposite effect for me.
Right. No, I know it's opposite effect, I think, for
Yeah.
a lot of people that have anxiety in their life,
Right.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
But
it
I-
lets me see the other side.
But for me, I get uncomfortable in certain things, like just the bad experiences with weed, just taking too much and greening out, but also just like
Right.
certain times this summer, like sometimes when I smell weed, my heart starts beating, like in an anxious way, like in a fight or flight way, and I'm trying to like fly the fuck away.
Fuck.
Like when I see someone rip a bong and I smell the smoke,
Oh.
it makes me like anxious on a level like I've never been. And this
Bong
is
smoke, I agree with you.
yeah, it's weird, right?
Joint, though, if I just smell a joint,
It's beautiful. No,
it's a weird sense of comfort.
I feel you to some degree, and I'm there now. But this summer there was a time when I wasn't there, and I still sometimes smell it, and like, it's amazing that I can have a great experience with weed
Yeah.
and know in my head that in my consciousness that
Right.
I like to do that, and that there's something unlocked in me when I do it that makes me a better person, and I'm more introspective, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then there's something that's in my subconscious brain that says this is bad because these 4 incidents happened and you were never the same afterwards. But not in a way that's damaging, in a way that's
Yes.
actually positive,
It's
because
learning opportunity.
because I can feel that, and then I have empathy for people who are anxious, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something beautiful in that.
Yes. Like, weed has done it for me. I feel like psychedelics have done it for me. All that kind of shit, you just experience you experience the human experience
Yeah.
so fucking deeply off of this stuff, because it's tapping in
Right.
past the ego.
Right.
And it's like, at some level, let's say we are all eternal souls, we have to have all experienced the same things because we've been around for fucking infinity. Like, I mean, understanding that we're not our present experience is huge. Like,
Right.
exactly what you're saying. off of psychedelics, I've understood, like, I understand the person who is very confident in themselves and doesn't like the people who make it harder to interact, who are more anxious. So I'm like, well, fuck, like, that's not good, but I understand why that person feels that way.
Right.
And
I can just give you like a perspective, like you're saying, like it's another dimension of perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying about the discoloration, like it's like a different feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
those perspective shifts are so necessary, like, because it's so, like, I feel like this is an odd dichotomy with me. I feel like I'm an empathic person. Like, I can interpret somebody's vibe, I think, pretty well.
Yeah.
But then other times it's like I can't relate to somebody emotionally.
Right.
And it's because I haven't been through that.
Right.
Which is a fundamental failing on my part, but I feel like I get that through tripping because, like, I've been around some of my friends where they're like, oh, maybe they're, like, really fucking tweaking. And it's like, all right, let me just be in this moment with you.
Yeah.
Let me understand the full breadth of your emotions, and let's
Right.
try and talk about this. Or it's brought
you care
me
about
weird
them,
places. Yeah, yes. I mean,
And
that's the thing.
everyone should have a capacity to care for people, even
Yeah.
if they don't know them. Even if it's fucking Joe Schmo on the street, and like my roommate, like we were driving to go fishing, and like one of my roommates was like just upset about the Trump rally that was on the way there and that kind of thing, and it's like obviously upsetting because just the way that the world is right now is just like it's disappointing, but it's like there's something like bigger than just getting mad when you see something that you don't like.
Right.
Like there's something
Why
there.
do I not like that?
Why do I not like that?
Yeah.
And why did they like it? And what's wrong with me for not accepting them for liking it? And what's wrong with them for liking it in the first place?
Yeah, dude.
And if you don't, here's the most important thing: if you don't say what's wrong with me and what's wrong with them, you're living a lie.
Yes, dude. Okay.
There's no truth in one side.
I got lunch with Luke the other day.
Yeah.
And, like, this kid, for the listeners, fly half of the Springfield rugby team.
Goddamn savage of a man. I mean, yeah.
Savage.
Yeah.
But
we're not really sure what's up with him.
Like, I mean, some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard has come out of that kid's mouth. But then also some of the wisest shit I've ever heard at exactly the time when I've needed to hear it. And I mean, I met Luke freshman year. He got me into rugby. Like,
yeah.
I mean, my relationship with weed wouldn't be what it is if I had never met him. Because I mean, he has a remarkably intelligent view on it. Like,
he does.
Like, I've learned so much at different times, but just recently, me and one of our other friends, Caden, were getting lunch with him, and we were talking about, we were all fired up about, like, Trump being able to pick another Supreme Court justice, we're only 57 days away, what the fuck's going on, like, it's just the state of the world, and it's tough because we both exist within an echo chamber because we have identical political views, so it's very easy when the two of us hang out to just kind of go, oh, I think this, and the other person goes, yeah, hey, I think this, yeah, I think this, and then it just keeps going back and forth, and then we spiral.
Right.
And Luke said some shit that blew my mind. He goes, guys, like, I'm not going to tell you if I agree with you or not because it's fucking inconsequential. You're focusing on the most negative aspects of here and right now. I understand. This country is not great right now. We have problems. Everybody can admit that we have problems. You don't need to tribalize it. You don't need to partisan-ize it.
You don't need to hate the people you love over it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He was like, look, like, the only thing that matters is spreading more positivity because that's what gives people energy. Spreading this negativity, even if it's for a virtuous cause, is not virtuous in and of itself because it's robbing people of that positive energy. Dude, that fucked with me so hard.
That's beautiful.
Very few times I've been at a loss to say back to somebody over something. I just sat there and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, wow. Like, I was silent.
Yeah. The most positive things are simple too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the most positive thing you could say, Luke. And Luke is the definition of simple, and not in the way that That's not a
It's not a
discount.
dig, yeah.
It's not a dig. It's simple in a beautiful way that like really stresses the point that we're making, that just says like, guys, like, yeah, like, it's more simple than this.
Yeah.
Like,
I just figured out who our first guest is going to be.
yeah,
And
Lukey
this is-
Sauls, bro. Suki Laws is going to
This
be
is-
on this baddie.
This is from the original inception of the podcast idea, which name we cannot name right now, but
we grew out of the name.
we grew out of it.
Yeah, we grew out of it, and you know, I think that there is a legitimate cause for accepting comedy as comedy and understanding how people feel about things in a real way, as opposed to in a way when they're making a joke. But for right now, I think we're gonna let you get to know us better before we start admitting to stuff like that, because
Yeah.
you know. Anyways.
Neither one of us are closed-minded people.
No, I mean, clearly this conversation, like, I just feel like we're just bouncing off each other,
Yeah.
and like there was a weird common core in the whole conversation.
Yeah.
While we went on like 1.5 million subjects, like I feel like there, like the simplicity and the, you know, like that kind of stayed true and to the whole thing.
We can agree on the fundamental pillars of stuff. I mean, like, obviously, like, you and I have different political identifications. We approach life in different ways.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of overlap, and I think that's healthy for people to be able to know. Just because that can make you more confident. Like, it can make you more, like, positive about the world we're in right now, where we have so much polarization.
Yes.
If two highly polarized people who can also talk very similarly can have this kind of conversation, like, why can't we all?
We all can, and that's what I want. Like, that's a big message that I hope, like, resonates with this whole entire conversation. Is like, it's not hard to be understanding of somebody else's view, and like, if it's hard for you, let's just put it like this: if it's hard for you to sit with somebody that you care about and talk to them about the way they feel about something and get mad about it, and it's hard for you to understand how they're feeling, then you're not really giving your energy towards caring about them. You're really giving your energy towards caring about your self-interest and motive, and the way that you feel about something has to be who you are. And like, it's not the same thing. It's like, if you can really sit with somebody and talk with an open mind, where you're not ready to answer them, you're listening to what they're saying, and then you take a moment and you think about it, and then you answer that, to like, you respond to their statement. Like, there's a different level where you're just understanding, like, you love that person and you want to understand how they feel. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
As and the most important part of that is that, like, we are the silent majority.
Yeah.
The minority isn't silent. And the reason that the minority is seemingly the majority is because that they're so fucking loud, no one else can even hear their own thoughts.
Yeah.
No one else can even listen to me. You can't even hear what you're thinking right now because somebody is screaming what they're thinking so loud into your ear that you can't even hear yourself think. So just fucking turn it off and listen to yourself think. And then all of a sudden we're going to be at a much better place.
I agree wholeheartedly, dude. I think that might be a beautiful ending point.
I think we should call it there.
Fuck. 2 hours and 23 minutes.
That's a great start. I think that was amazing. If anyone's listening, goddamn, to this point, we love you.
Yes.
I think this could be the start of our fan base. I mean, whoever you are, you could be the first listener, like, you know, and like,
blissful ignorance, man.
Blissful ignorance, and let's continue to be the closest version to be blissfully ignorant as we can.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, everyone.